Yes. Then, how do you want me to just go and look at it? Yeah, just bring that.
Anyone wants coffee? Coffee? 1 hour.
Why is it? I just realised now that I've almost finished this tea and I'm walking out in this direction, and now I feel that I need to go for a pee.
Finish the tea, then you can rest.
Alright, we'll go. Now, go. You do 5 kilo দিবে ফেলো। 42 minutes. সবাইকে নিয়ে যাও একটা
If you want to, on that measure,
You can touch.
I had the wrong use of words. I said,
touch.
just grab him for a photo and see what.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Thank you. I'm always good to be grabbed.
Huh? Okay, delete. Anything else has holes in it. So you can see any other colour that
Questa me non è.
সুন্দর বৃষ্টি দেখছো?
ওভার কি রিডিউস হইছে অলরেডি?
এখনো হয়নি।
জলদি উঠছার কি আছে আমার চিনি বেশি কালুটা কোনটা Well, I said to someone who knows the stuff. Well, I said to Andy, I was like, if they try to use it, it's blue SS pads that are like pillows like that big.
Come on, Rain.
I hope it stops raining.
Yeah.
Okay.
यहाँ पे मेरे पास उसको 1 मिनट भेजो.
Okay, okay.
15 minutes up, was it?
What they said. Completely what they said to the captain. Don't take it after the captain. Far enough. With a lot of power.
Guys, give me some help.
No problem. That's why we are doing like it's good for us as well, like for the DHL system or whatever. It's good for us.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Nest sign, Securitas sign. How well can you hear?
Perfect. Thank you.
नहीं मैं इधर ही था अंपायर कह रहा था तू ढूंढो तो मुझे
वैसे ही
कैसे क्या फिर मुझे बताया मैसेज दिया ना मेरा
इसने बोला था कि स्लिप लाया
4 minutes. 4 minutes. So technically, if you lose, I think.
Wait, 4 minutes.
So that's what we said 9 minutes. But here we're talking about how you lose overs. But here we're like, so I think it's 9 minutes. If we'd have started, we could have played through it because they've said 10 minutes start.
Zero
10
common
minutes, but
sense.
we're 19.
Yeah, I agree.
We play now and so we're 19 overs.
Mouthful. What are you eating?
Whooping.
Oh, ready,
Whooping. Come on, boy.
And a warm welcome to the Kerava National Cricket Ground as we get the first of the 4 T20 internationals between Finland and Sweden underway. He just joined us as the first ball is delivered by Amjad Sher of the Finnish Bears after what has been a 40-minute delay to proceedings here because of rain. We've had some very heavy rain and we're likely to get some more showers throughout the day, but we're underway. The details being that Sweden won the toss and have elected to bat, as we watch Amjad Sher come in and deliver the second ball. Big appeal for LBW, looking a bit high and perhaps going down leg side here. They take a quick leg bye. Sweden, the opening batsman for Sweden, we'll go through the entire teams for you in a moment, but the opening batsman for Sweden, Khalid Ahmed Zahid and Rahel Khan. Zahid, the only man who's off the mark so far. And cool conditions here in Kerava after quite a lot of rain this morning. As I say, a 40-minute delay as Sher comes in. Short delivery called wide. And as I say, a warm welcome to whoever and wherever you're listening from on the YouTube site via the Cricket Finland page, or facebook.com via the Cricket Finland page. We welcome you to what should be an interesting weekend of cricket. 4 matches scheduled, weather permitting. Sher's next delivery. Oh, and he's caught behind by Skamans, the keeper. He hung his bat out at that one. It was a rising delivery, just trying to guide it, I think, perhaps over the slip cordon. And he's got a little tickle on that through to the keeper. And the first wicket falls for Sweden, 3 for 1. After 3 deliveries, Sher, the man picking up Zahid, who departs for 1. So, 3 deliveries in, 3 for 1, Sweden, having won the toss and elected to bat. So, Sweden with an early wicket to contend with, and Venkatesh now, who is the Swedish captain, Abhijit Venkatesh, will come in at number 3. I'll give you plenty more details about what's to come up over the weekend throughout this match. Another one scheduled for 15:30, the second of this 4-match series. We shall see whether we get a full game here. The delayed start of 40 minutes has meant that the match has been reduced to 19 overs. And we think that the scheduled cut-off time will be around 2:30, perhaps a little later than that. We'll confirm for you when we know. But as it is dry for the moment, at least in terms of the overhead conditions. Wet underfoot, an artificial pitch here at Kerava, and a very nice, lush and well-draining outfield. So it, although it's wet, should dry fairly quickly if the rain stays away. Anyway, here's Sher to Venkatesh, the captain, who dabs that down to gully, where it's fielded by Vanraj Padal. No run. 4 balls gone, 3 for 1 then, Sweden. And it was Zahid, a reminder, the man that was out for 1. Next delivery, just spooned up into the air onto the onside. They look for 2 here. They are going to come back. It's Mohammed fields for Finland, and they pick up a couple. 5 for 1. Final delivery then of this opening over, the first T20 international between Finland and Sweden, which is defended into the offside by the Swedish batsman to end Amjad Sher's opening over, an opening over that brought a wicket. Khalid Ahmed Zahid falling for 1, 6 for 1 then at the end of the first over. Reminder that this is now a 19-over match scheduled after a 40-minute delay. Although, I don't want to be overly pessimistic, but there are some dark clouds away to the south, and we are expecting some rain later on in the day. For now, though, things are a sight more optimistic than they were half an hour ago. Now then, Naveed Shahid is going to be the next opening bowler for the Finnish Bears, coming from what we loosely call the apartment end here at Kerava. Quick chance to run through the teams for you. Then Sweden, having won the toss, Rahul Khan, Khalid Ahmed Zahid, the man out, and Abhijit Venkatash, the captain, who's now in at number 3. Wynand Boshoff, Rahul Gautaman, Dipanjan Day, Hassan Mahmood, Liam Carlson, Quadratullah Zadran, Oktay Galami, Lemar Mohamed, and there are 3, well, 12th, 13th and 14th men nominated. We'll give you those in a moment and go through the Finnish Bears team for you too, as well as number 32. Shahid comes in, left arm over the wicket, immediately first delivery is called a wide down the leg side. Short, quick, rapid bowler, left armour. Plays for Greater Helsinki here in the Finnish T20 Premier League. 16 wickets this season as he comes in. That one's a straighter delivery, which is well played. Straight, but straight back to the bowler and fielded well in his follow through. The Finnish Bears team for you then: Nathan Collins, the captain, Peter Gallagher, Aniket Pushtai, Aravind Mohan, Vanraj Padal, Jonathan Skamans, the keeper, Amjad Sharma, Mahesh Tambe, Naveed Shahid, Hariharan Dandapani and Mohammed Raz. Shahid is in. This one is helped on its way down leg side. It was a poor ball wide of leg stump, and that's gone away for the first boundary of the match, taking Sweden to 11 for 1 and Venkatash up to 7. We'll introduce you a bit later to our commentary team as well, and give you an idea of some of the other things we expect to hear and see over the coming weekend. Jonty Rhodes, the big name, of course, here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground this weekend. The Sweden coach, the former South African international. We hope to be talking to him at some point throughout the weekend as Shahid comes in a full toss, driven straight. They're going to pick up a quick single. Good throw comes in from Sher back to the keeper, but they're safely home. Another one to the total, 12 for 1. Venkatash, the captain, already moves on to 8, and Khan, his fellow batsman Rahul Khan, who opened, is yet to get off the mark. He's just faced a single delivery, the right-hander. And he's now facing Shahid, a slower ball, which he waits on and tentatively pushes back for no run. 2 balls left in the over. And if you are listening via the Cricket Finland pages on YouTube, or particularly on Facebook, then do let us know your thoughts throughout the weekend and on the match. Shahid is in. That's taking him on the pad, looking to swing into the onside. No appeal and no run. So the 12th, 13th and 14th men: Arib Abdul Kadir for the Finnish Bears, Adnan Said and Mahmoud Zia Rehman. And for Sweden, their reserves are Baz Ayubi, Imal Zuvak and Humayun Kabir Giotti. And Shahid is in and driven into the onside. They're going to pick up 2 here, I think. The ball is picking up in the onside outfield. In fact, they're going to come back for 3 easy runs. And Khan moves off the mark and goes to 3 from 4 deliveries. Venkatesh rather is there on 8. End of the over. 15 for 1 Sweden, so a good over from them. 9 coming from it after 2 overs in this 19 over match.
I'm unmuted now.
Right then, Cher will continue from what I like to call the brewery end here at Kerava. Oh, that's a rising delivery that lifts and beats the batsman. He's working up a nice pace already, Cher, who has been suffering lately from a little bit of a back strain. He's been pass fit for this game. Empire Cricket Club player. He's taken 13 wickets in the domestic Premier League this season. He's in again. That one is a terrific shot, really. He's aerial again. There is a question as to whether it's going to make the rope because it pulls up just inside. It is given 4. It's the furthest boundary to us here, but with this wet outfield and the ball plugging a little bit, shots like that perhaps don't get you the value for money that you would expect. Khan moves on to 7, 19 for 1. We're in the 3rd over. Don't forget the power play situation in this T20 International for the first 6 overs. Only 2 allowed outside the ring. Will give you an idea of the field when we get a spare moment. There's a slip in place and a gully for Cher as he comes in. Again, a short delivery and an attempted cross-back shot there, which he doesn't get anything on. Khan, he's on 7. Just trying to see what fielders we've got outside the ring. That's a little difficult to see occasionally. We've got a man at wide long on for now. Seems to be the only fielder out in the ring as far as I can see. The Cher is in. Oh, that beats him. Again, a terrific delivery. He looked to be pushing on towards the onside, the batsman there, and it beat his outside edge through to the keeper. And the pitch here, the artificial pitch, does have a bit of a reputation of skidding a little when there's been some damp conditions, although there are covers here, so the pitch itself shouldn't be wet. But Cher is a tall bowler, and he's getting quite a little bit of lift coming down the hill that there is here at Kerava. Here he is again, and another short delivery, an attempted pull into the onside. Through to the keeper, you can hear the cries of anguish from the Bears players. And he's got his length right here, Amjad Cher. Bowls well when he's just slightly back of a length, using that natural height. And coming down the hill with a fair bit of pace. And Khan, so what's 3 dot balls on a row after that? 4 over towards long on. Here's the final ball of the 3rd over. And again, he's just trying to fiddle at that outside off stump. Hands on head time, Cher walks through to the end of his over. 19 for 1 after 3. Sweden having won the toss and decided to bat alongside me, Marcel Burton, who's keeping an eye on proceedings with us.
Yep. Good afternoon, everyone.
Not quite 5 minutes.
5 minutes to afternoon. Close enough.
Sun's out. 5 to 12 here at finish time, we should say.
Indeed, as it looks like it will be Shahid who continues. I think it's referred to as the residential end rather than the apartment end.
Yeah, I suppose that does, that is more apt, isn't it? Slightly ignore those people that are living in some of the rather pleasant houses behind us here at Kerava as Shahid continues. Left arm over, slightly round arm action. This one is squeezed into the onside. They're going to think about a second, but wisely they decide against it. And that must have come off the bat because there is no signal for leg by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Lots of encouragement from the Finnish Bears players on the field. Clapping the fielder down at fine leg, who came in quickly to limit it to just 1 run.
20 for 1, Sweden. Shahid then, number 32, runs away from us. Oh, that's a terrific shot. That's over mid-wicket. That should go all the way. Despite the wet outfield, it does for 4 runs. He managed to get hold of that. Nice sound off the bat from Khan, who's got into his stride now after a rather slowish start. He moves on to 11, 24 for 1. Made 35 in one of the matches that Sweden played last weekend. They were in Denmark at Brøndby. I think that's how you might say it. Brøndby, I think, to us English speakers, but Brøndby would be more appropriate. Yeah, 2 matches I think they played in Denmark last weekend. Sweden, their first T20 international action for a very long time, as it is for most clubs. Oh, it's gone way up in the air, this has, off Shahid. As Nathan Collins, the Bears captain, is underneath it, takes a terrific catch right in front of his face, and it's the second Sweden wicket down, 24 for 2. And it was Khan going for a big heave, who just skied it. And the second Swedish wicket falls, 24 for 2. And Naveed Shahid picks up his first wicket. That's Khan gone for 11. And Boshoff will be the next batsman for Sweden. Wyman Boshoff makes his way to the centre. He made 32 in one of those matches against Denmark. There were 3 T20s in Denmark last weekend. On Saturday and Sunday they lost 2 and 1-1 Sweden, and 32 Boshoff made in one of those matches, coming in at number 4 as he does today. So just the details on Khan's innings. He went for 11 off 12 deliveries, a couple of boundaries, 4s in that. 91 is strike rate. As I said, he got off to a slightly sticky start, but he's now departed. And it should be Venkatesh now facing as they crossed, and this one's just squeezed into the onside. They'll pick up certainly a single as the ball goes down to fine leg. And they do pick up that single, 25 for 2. Which brings Boshoff on to strike. He takes guard now from the umpires. We should mention the umpires here today who are officiating. A rather big operation to get this fairly hastily arranged international weekend together here in Finland, because of the original plans for the T20 World T20 qualifying tournament to feature 16 teams here in Finland, which was called off because of the worldwide situation. More on that in a minute as Shahid comes in. This is a fuller delivery, just pushed out by Boshoff to get off the mark off his first delivery, and he does so safely. A single to him then, 26 for 2. So yeah, a rather large operation to get this underway. It's a delight to have some international cricket after all the riches we were promised for the summer, which for the second year running were abandoned because of the difficult situation around the world with the pandemic and travel restrictions. As Shahid comes in to complete his over, fuller delivery, that's nicely played though, into the onside. Attempt at the, oi, goodness me, there's 2 attempts at a run out there. The non-striker Boshoff had left his ground, and Nathan Collins, the captain it was, who's terrific fielding in there at mid-wicket, gathered the ball, and Boshoff had left his ground. He had a shy at the stumps, he missed, but then Boshoff still wasn't quite safe, had to scramble back to make sure that the second throw, which did hit the stumps.
Yeah, that was by Peter Gallagher. Combining well there, the 2 Empire players.
Yeah, the 2 openers as well. Yeah. Probably today we expect those 2 to open. But anyway, end of the over, 26 for 2, 4 overs gone. Boshoff, after that little scare, is still there on 1, and Venkatesh is not out on 10.
Yep, off of 9 deliveries at a strike rate of 111. It was a good catch by Collins in the previous over. Went very high, slippery conditions. I think the Finnish Bears have looked very energetic and up for it from the beginning. And Amjad Sher will be looking to continue his good work with the ball from the brewery end. 2 excellent overs. Only 9 runs from his 2 overs.
And
so
the all-important wicket, of course, of Zahid in that first over. He's bowling well, good consistent length, just back of a good length, and getting a lot of pace on the ball. Boshoff will face him for the first time as he just scans the field, and awaits Scher now. Little guide down to gully where it's fielded by
Van Pedal.
Van Raj Padal there. We have a slip in place, which is Collins. He's more, I can tell from the angle that we're at, we're not right behind the bowler's arm. He looks to be more like second slip, actually, his position now. And Padal in at gully. Still those fielding restrictions in place for now. And we think just at third man, we have one of those men out as Scher is in. This one's turned into the onside. Mid-wicket comes in and fields. That's Shahid. No run. Is it my eyes, Marcel, or is it just one player out at the moment? I can only see one at third man, 2 allowed outside the ring, of course, but that's all that appears to be for the Bears at the moment.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. At least I can't spot anyone else as Scher continues.
That one's down leg side. That'll be called a wide. There's a big appeal for a catch. It must have been a noise, so it must have been pad, because there's no signal of wide from the umpire. That's always the good thing to do, isn't it, when the ball does go down the leg side? Always appeal as if there's been some noise and hope you don't get given the wide against you. There's some sandwiches and cakes are brought to us by, not cakes, no, sandwiches of 2 different varieties by Cricket Finland's fantastic organisational structure. Look at this, brilliant, they're all mine, if I get a moment to eat them.
Egg and watercress.
Egg and watercress. Or spring onion, perhaps. I think that might be. Next ball beats the batsman again. Scher head in hands again. He's bowling very well. Unfortunately, all these delightful wares have been placed on my scorecard. So I have a debate now. I hand them over. 26 for 2. Sweden having won the toss. 19 overs this match. Reduced because of a 40-minute delay. Shorter delivery, hit on the pad, high up, trying to swing into the onside. Boshoff. Half appeal from behind the stumps and nothing from the umpire. So what we've got, a maiden on the cards here. So 5 dots in a row. And Boshoff just struggling a little bit here. He's off the mark, and he was off the mark in slightly frenetic fashion, and he's not got any runs under his belt from this over from Scher. The next one is just deliberately defended to see out a maiden. So terrific stuff from Amjad Scher. I wonder whether he'll carry on, having bowled 3 overs now. 26 for 2 at the end of the 5th over. And Marcel will give me his Scher's details. Bowling card for now. What's he got?
3 overs for 1 wicket and only 9 runs given away. So an economy rate of 3 at the moment.
Just trying to ascertain what's...
It is Shahid continuing from the residential end. Good question as to whether Scher will continue from the brewery end as Shahid comes in. It's driven to the onside, in the air, over the infield, running towards the boundary. It looks like it has gone.
Yeah, clipped for 4 over mid-wicket there.
Yep.
Sort of help, it's on its way job from Venkatesh, who moves to 14. So it's the odd scampered single, a few boundaries and quite a lot of dots so far in this opening power play. As I say, Scher, as Marcel was mentioning, gone for 9 so far off his 3 overs. So a terrific start by him. And Shahid as well, who, how many has he gone for? Probably a few more. Yep, 20. But he has picked up a wicket. That one's full and driven through extra cover. That's a terrific shot. Really just helping it on its way. Really timed that nicely down the hill and over pitching slightly. That's been the way, hasn't it? Scher has been trying to bowl slightly back of a length. Shahid, the fuller of the two. And that was inviting on a length outside the off stump. And a terrific shot by Venkatesh there. Moves him to 18. off 17.
2 fours in a row now.
Yeah, after the maiden of the last over. 2 boundaries, successive boundaries. Shahid slightly shorter than the last one. That's a better ball. Looking to cut through the offside, but I think just wary that he'd over-pitched a little bit. That's better. Captain Venkatesh for Sweden. 31 years old. Prepares to face again. Little dab on this down towards third man. They'll pick up certainly 1. They'll look for 2, but no. Oh, they're coming back. Yep, that was good backing up by the, or good turning by Venkatesh. I think Boshoff was slightly reluctant there. But the captain, the man running to the danger end, was quick across the strip there and managed to get home fairly safely in the end. He moves to 20 of 13 deliveries now, 36 for 2 in the 6th over, the last of the opening power play. Slightly slower ball, pushed into the offside. He goes for a run. The pick up and throw is wild though. In the end, there's no run. And a good end then, or a better end then to this over from Shahid, who went for those successive boundaries at the start of it. So many off this over then, 8 overs, 10 off this over so far. Just slightly ruined his figures. So he prepares to bowl the final delivery of his 3rd over. And that's swung aerially down towards third man. Might have interested Gully, but there was no Gully in place. Instead of backward point, they pick up a single. End of the over then, and Venkatesh 21. Boshoff still on 1 off 7 deliveries. 6 overs gone, end of the first power play. Sweden then 37 for 2.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see if Finland or the Finnish Bears make a lot of changes to the field now that the power play is over. Only the 1 man out most of the overs during the power play, and they've been able to restrict the Swedes quite well. See if they continue with a pressure field or whether they put some more men back on the boundary. I do see 1 man going out on the offside towards final leg. Sorry, third man. And anyone else out?
Well, they're keeping the field fairly tight. There is a man at third man. That's all I can see for now. Share continues into his 4th and final over now. First ball is pushed into the onside for a single. Yeah, there's no real great reason necessarily to spread the field just because you can after the start that they've made here, particularly with Share bowling as well as he has been. Just 10 runs off his first 3 and a bit overs. He's in again down the hill. Big swinger of the ball is Share. Pitches on a length, just pushed into the offside for a single. And we're not right behind the bowler's arm here, so it's difficult to see the trajectory of the delivery always. So having played against him, or with him, sorry, for a good few seasons now, he's certainly a batsman that tends to swing the ball away from the right-hander.
Yep, he gets a lot of lift on his deliveries as well.
Well, he's quite quick, and that short, just slightly short of a length is ideal for him. Like that one, it's just pushed up into the air. There's a chance in the mid-wicket region, 2 fielders converging on it. Unfortunately, the ball for the Bears fell just in front of the batsman, the fielder, but it was a risky shot from Venkatesh. He didn't really get onto it, and it's spooned up in the air. 23 he moves on to. They took a single on that occasion, 40 for 2. So interesting decision to bowl Share out now, and they think about who they're going to be bowling at the death. So the next one is just pushed back past the bowler for a single.
Yeah, still 8 fielders in the circle for the Finnish Bears. So obviously trying to tempt the Swedish batsman to hit it over the fielders inside the circle.
Yeah, and 2 catches, one at around about second slip, Nathan Collins, and the gully still in place as well. But those are areas of interest, or have been, in these opening overs for Cher. Gets on top of the ball there, does Boshoff. Just dabs it down to that gully region, no run. So the line and length has been pretty consistent here.
Yep.
Good opening spell.
3 singles and 2 dots so far off this over, so another good tight over by Cher. Well, this is his last one.
Yeah, and just going for 12. He's been fairly expensive in the domestic leagues. Well, not actually that expensive, going for around... Next ball is caught. Big celebration. And he's got his reward, a second wicket. Sweden's 3rd fall. And it's Boshoff who's gone. Sweden 40 for 3. And that was always on the cards, wasn't it, really? Caught by Skamans, the keeper behind. Cher 4 overs. 2 for 12. Ending the 7th over in a terrific opening burst. He's now bowled out, but what a job he's done for the Bears. And he's helped reduce Sweden to 40 for 3 after 7 overs. Terrific stuff, Marcel.
The right move by the Finnish Bears captain to back Cher as a bowler. He gets his reward. You were mentioning Cher's figures in the domestic game. It should be said that he has been injured this season, but looks to be back to full fitness now, as Gautaman comes to the crease.
He's struggling with a bit of a back injury towards the end of the season. But I spoke to him before the game and he said all's good, all's fine. And on that evidence...
You would agree? You would,
yeah, not disagree, would you? Terrific opening spell. 12 then from it. 2 for 12 off 4.
Yeah, new bowler as well. Looks to be Pete Gallagher from the residential end, so a bit of off spin into the attack. Interesting moves, taking the pace off the ball after Shahid and Cher bowling their fast medium pace at the batsman.
Yeah, it's not a bad move, bringing on a bit of off spin early. Gallagher is a tall off spinner, bowls quite flat and quite quick. And the ball skidding on perhaps if it's slightly damp, having picked up a lot of moisture in the outfield. This might be a good move as the field changes substantially. Of course, we now do have more men out. One at deep extra cover, one at long leg as Gallagher comes in. Number 2 on his back. The first one is an attempted cut into the offside, no run taken by the keeper.
Yep, projected score at the moment, 143.
Yeah, run rates of less than 6, so not a flyer by any means as Gallagher pulls out of his run. The umpire's going to have to do some furniture repairs to the stumps. Brightening up a little bit more now. The darker clouds seem to have disappeared away perhaps to the east, so some blue sky over to the south, which is nice to see. Let's hope we get the rest of this match in uninterrupted. Showers, the forecast for the day. Well, most of it. That one from Gallagher just turned into the onside. They're going to pick up a single to long on as Cher comes into field. So we've got long on, long off, deep extra cover, a man at deep square leg and a man at deep mid wicket. So 5 eligible fielders outside the ring. Collins, the captain, at short extra cover. We've got a man at point and a man at short backward. In fact, the man from third man has come back up into the ring now. So there's a gap on that side. And that was where it goes to short third man just to his left. There's a rather tentative dab at that. Picks up a single for Gautaman, who's the new man. Rahul Gautaman coming in at number 5 to join his captain, Venkatesh, who is not out on 24. Also off spin at this early, gets through the overs a bit quicker as well. That one's given a little bit more air from Gallagher, driven up to long on rather, as Cher comes round and fields. A good throw goes in and just a single. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, bringing spin on straight after the power play, which has managed to squeeze the batting side. You suddenly feel that you're going through the overs quicker than you expect. And Gallagher tends to bowl his overs very quickly as the next one's just driven past the bowler.
Yeah.
Off for another single. 44 for 3. Final ball of the over to come then. Gallagher just drives the ball. And he's in now. That one's given air, full toss in fact. Driven to long on, it should just be a single again. Big throw comes back from Cher to the keeper. End of the over then, Gallagher's first, 45 for 3.
Yep, just the 5 singles from that over. And as you said, I think it's a good move to bring on the spinner at this point with a new batsman at the crease, joining Venkatesh, the captain of Sweden. Now they'll be looking to up the run rate soonish, as they're only 45 for 3 after 8, meaning the projected score is around the 130 mark, which is not a kind of total that you'd be confident in defending, I don't believe. Usually we need a score of around 150, 160, what we're used to seeing in the national team games. That you could have some confidence in defending that score with the ball then in the field.
It's hard to tell. The T20 scores domestically here at Kerava were quite high for a lot of this season, but then we had a really dry
outfield, yeah,
summer, and you know, the outfield was like lightning. Of course, it's much more lush now and wet too, so the ball isn't quite travelling as much as it did earlier in the year. Raz Mohammed will now come into the attack, another Empire player.
Skiddy bowler.
Very skiddy, quite quick when he wants to be. And he's one of those bowlers I hate facing. He's got quite a strange action, very sort of, there's no real gather in his action. It's all shoulder, it's sort of one movement, and there's almost no gather as you see him coming in now, running towards us. And that one is just, dabbed past the keeper. We're going to pick up a single here. What's the umpire signalling? Did he get something on it? Yeah. So yeah, he gets through quickly. He's quite short, very skiddy. There's no, as I say, gather in that action. It's just kind of all one movement, and it's very difficult to pick up sometimes. And coming down the hill with a ball that's wet and maybe a little bit of moisture on the...
I was about to say that. It looked like he lifted a little bit on the batsman once more. So something from the brewery end. All the bowlers seem to be getting a bit of extra lift with the ball.
Here he is again. That one's just clipped nicely, and finally past the keeper, runs away for 4. That's a nice shot. It was an over-pitch delivery and just helped on its way, really, by Gautaman, who moves to 6 off 3. 50 is up for Sweden.
Yep, and that's the first boundary we've had in the last 2.5 overs. So a bit of a lull in the scoring.
50 for 3 in the 9th. Run rate of exactly 6. It'll turn into the onside for an easy single. .51 for 3. And significantly brighter conditions now, thankfully, at Kerava. Raj, short, wide, down the leg side. Batsman misses it. They're going to pick up 2 for sure. Two byes should be 2 wides rather signalled here. That was a poor delivery. So just struggling to get his radar right here. Raz Mohammed. Best bowling 3 for 8 this season for Empire in the domestic T20 tournament. Went an economy of 6.5 throughout the season. He's in again with red shoes. turned into the onside. That's a nice single, well run. It could be in danger. A good pick up and throw though from Collins.
I think Jonty Rhodes will appreciate that.
Yeah, the Jonty Rhodes connection evident there. We'll talk a bit more later about Jonty Rhodes' influence on this side, because it was an extraordinary, not extraordinary, but quite a forcefully written piece by Jonty Rhodes on the Cricket Sweden website about the selection of his team for this tournament. We'll talk about that later on. But big emphasis on commitment and fitness as Raz's next delivery is taken high up by the batsman on the body, no run, as opposed to previous, you know, reputation and record, and you know, big as you'd expect from one of the foremost fitness and fielding coaches in the world. Big emphasis on fitness and mobility in the field. We'll be talking hopefully to Jonty Rhodes throughout the weekend as well, as Raz Mohammed comes in again. This is just dabbed to gully, where it's fielded by Aniket Pushtai, and there's no run. End of the over then. Slightly mixed bag. 9 overs gone, 55 for 3, 10 coming off it. And we're about to move into the half, well, we're around about the halfway point now, because this is a 19 over match, just to remind you, not 20 overs because of the rain delay earlier.
Yeah, I think Jonty Rhodes will be pretty impressed with the Finnish fielding effort so far.
Without doubt. I mean, that is one thing that Matt Jenkinson, the Finnish Bears head coach, is also really hot on. Fitness, mobility, anticipation, fielding, you know, fielding abilities and skills.
Yeah.
And something that they work on extremely hard, I know, as Gallagher starts his second over with number 2 on the back, a full toss, pushed up to long on. Slight irritation with himself at that full toss, but the batsman wasn't tempted to do anything more with it than just gently push it for a single. More drying of the ball. Outfield still wet. Gautaman, the man facing that one, is just driven slightly spooned in a way, really off the outside edge up to the man who's there in the covers.
Yeah, slight slip. Looks like he's hurt his hand a bit, at least he's holding it. It's number 6.
Aravind Mohan, that is, yeah. Just went down slightly awkwardly. I think perhaps caught off balance a little bit there. Batsman wasn't trying to play there. And it's squeezed somewhat off the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
But the conditions, you've got to have good footwear, because with an artificial pitch you can't be wearing spikes, so you've got to have something that's going to give you some traction, as well as, you know, take care of the artificial pitch. As the next delivery is another single. They're being quite wary of Gallagher here. 57 for 3. We've only got 1 run, no run, 1 run off the first 3.
Yep, just the 5 singles of Gallagher's previous over as well. So this is what I meant when I said when the slow bowler comes on, forces the batsman to hit it harder.
Venkatesh is now pushing a full toss into the onside, clipping it up to the mid-wicket boundary. It's only another single though. 2 balls remain in the over. He's on to 30 now, the captain, Venkatesh. And Gautaman is the man facing. That's a good delivery. Again, it squeezes off the edge towards gully, and a little cry there from Gallagher, who knew that he was trying to push that straighter than it went. So he's getting a little bit of purchase there, perhaps. Another single. That's a full toss. That's clubbed into the onside. There is a man at deep square leg, so I think again it's only going to be a single, but you get the impression there that the batsman somewhat missed out. Few full tosses coming in the mix from Gallagher, perhaps because of a ball that's difficult to grip, but nonetheless, from his side's point of view, it's another good job. 10 overs gone, 60 for 3, and they're just dealing in singles off Pete Gallagher at the moment. Marcy.
Yeah, five singles once more off that over. Peter Gallagher's second, similar to the first, absolutely exactly the same as the first. See if it's Raz Mohammed who continues on the residential end. There's a bit of a discussion ongoing. And Raz Mohammed looks to have been number 4 for the Finnish Bears. So another off spinner, Hariharan Dandapani, coming into the attack. So again, looking to restrict the Swedes with some slow bowling, make them force the shots, and hopefully, from the Finnish Bears' perspective, that will create some opportunities in the field, as they do now have more men out. There's 3 men out on the onside, 1 at deep square leg, 1 at cow cornerish.
Yeah, Raz straight out after a mixed bag the first over. Dandapani then is coming in tall, right-armed spinner going over the wicket. First delivery is a single into the onside. Number 4 on his back, just wheeling his arms around, trying to get loose. But perhaps having also seen their approach to Gallagher, it's good thinking to get Dandapani on here at this stage in the 11th. So we got turned from both ends as he comes in. Tall, lofted delivery, that one, given plenty of air. Dips quite well. His delivery is quite deceptive in the air. He's tall, and when he does give it air, yeah, eyes might light up a bit, but he gets some nice dip on the ball, it seems. As Venkatash, who's 32, prepares to face him now. And he's cutting that to short third man, backward point.
It's Raz Mohammed with his red shoes fielding there.
Yeah, you can't
Easy
miss.
spot.
You can't miss. He's got the whole gamut. He's got a whole range of coloured shoes. Bit of a messy throw comes in. Disrupts the stumps, and no reason for that. Of course, you're always in danger of giving away an overthrow. So a couple of singles off these first 3 deliveries. Or 3 singles. So they're treating the off spinners with a little bit of respect. Here, the Swedish batsman, 63 for 3 in the 11th, having won the toss and decided to bat first. Waits on that one, there's a chance of a catch, and I thought he'd taken it, but he just grounded it at the last moment, Mohammed, there at backward point. He did well to get there, he really did. Diving forwards, it looked like he'd had it in his hands, and just the impact of falling knocked it out of those hands, but a let off there. Oh, he goes wide outside his off stump to turn that into the onside. Not gathered cleanly by Shahid, and they go through for a single.
Yep. This is the time when they're looking to up the scoring. You come out with the creative shots. We saw that last week as well with the finals of the Finnish Premier League. A lot of very interesting shots coming in, often walking across the stumps, trying to work it to the onside, similar to Venkatash a moment ago.
Galtaman is on strike. He's on 11 off 17. That's driven nicely though. That's gone through the point area. There's going to be a couple here. Raz Mohammed in his red shoes is after them. They could look for a third, but they decide not to take on the arm. I might have told them that it's probably worth taking it on, but they're not to know that. So 2 runs to end that over from Dandapani, which was very neat and tidy. 7 coming from it. 67 for 3. We're 11 overs through this 19-over contest, and the first of these 4 T20 internationals between Finland and Sweden. 27 the partnership worth now, and that's what they've needed, because they haven't built any big partnerships. Venkatash and Galtaman have steadied things somewhat in terms of preventing the clatter of wickets, but they need to really up the run rate, I think, here now with 8 overs left.
I'm expecting some slightly less orthodox cricket from now on. Venkatash already showing a little bit of creativity at the crease in the last over.
Well, just showing a bit of urgency. I think that's the, you know, you almost have to show it to yourself sometimes as a batsman. You've got to make yourself do things just to try and up your rate. There's a little delay as the batsmen confer and gloves are being adjusted. Gallagher waits now. He's into his 3rd over. dropping slightly short, turned into the onside. They're going to push for 2 here because there's a bit of a chase for the man coming in off the deep square leg boundary, and they do pick up 2. I think it's probably the first 2 they've picked up off Gallagher, quite possibly.
It is indeed.
Who's gone for 12 off his 2.1 overs. And they've got to start looking for the gaps for sure. Venkatesh now again looking for a little push into the onside for another single. That's all they will take though. Sorry, Gautaman that was. That was Venkatesh, I apologise. And Collins gets out the orange towel to dry the ball for his Australian compatriot and Empire teammate. Those two will probably open the batting, one would expect, for the Finnish Bears when they reply later on in the day. Just waits on that, dabs into the offside. There is a chance at point. They ran well though, because the ball didn't travel far. So in the end, comfortable single, but again, no real attempt to open the shoulders, and just trying content to work the strike a little bit now and keep the run rate ticking over.
Yeah. It's driven down the ground by Venkatesh just for the single. And Gautaman back on strike, currently 14 off of his 13 balls faced. Gallagher keeping it neat and tidy so far. Just the 3 singles and a double. Again, it's played into the offside for no run this time. It is Aravind Mohan there, the specialist cover fielder who's in well, similarly to last ball.
So final ball of his 3rd over, Gallagher. It's been a good spell this. 72 for 3 Sweden. Again, sent back, no thought of a single in the end. So a good end to a 3rd over from Gallagher, 72 for 3 after 12. Just the 5 coming from it, and off spinners doing a good job for the Bears here now,
Yeah.
Marcel.
I think this just shows the importance of scoring a lot during the power play overs. In last weekend in the Finnish Premier League finals, there was a lot of pinch hitting. The big men opening the batting and heaving the ball over the fence multiple times in the first 6 overs, something that Sweden weren't able to do, losing wickets early on to Amjad Sher. Paying the price at the moment, still not able to increase the run rate, which is currently hovering around the 6 runs and over as Dandapani continues.
Full toss driven over the head of extra cover, that's going for 4. That was a loose start from Dandapani into his 2nd over now.
Yep, haven't seen too many loose deliveries so far, or if there have been some, the Swedish batsmen haven't been able to capitalise on them. Venkatesh here, making the most of that one as Dandapani looks to correct his length.
Yeah, we should point out a slight anomaly in the name here. We have 2 different variations of the name, as the next delivery is wide and outside off stump, called a wide. The Swedish team sheet gives the name as Abhijit Venkatesh, as does most entries. Unfortunately, there's been a slight error, I think, on the scorecard today. That's why that occasionally the name that might be flashing up on your screen or on Crick HQ isn't quite accurate. Venkatesh, it is the captain, who's 42 off 33, so not a bad strike rate despite what's felt like a bit of a sticky innings so far from Sweden on, we should say, quite difficult conditions, having had a lot of rain earlier on today. But if he sticks there, they've got a good chance of posting a score as he opens his shoulders this time and on one knee sort of slog sweeps along the ground up to long on for another single, moves him to 43 now off 34. We're in the 13th over. Run rate's up to bit, over 6 now, 6.3. A blue sky around us for the first time today, which is pleasant to see. This one just lifts a little bit and is slightly slow taking off the striker. The throw in the end was poor. They got through safely, but I noticed a little bit of extra bounce on that delivery.
Yeah, it's the residential end. We've seen it before with Amjad and Raz Mohammed as well. Both of them getting quite a good lift in their deliveries from the residential end.
Well, they're bowling from what we're calling the brewery end, so the batsman at this end is the one facing the extra bounce. That's not going to trouble him, though. That's a wide, full toss outside off stump. So maybe just struggling to grip the ball a little bit, which is wet, because the outfield is still wet. We had some quite torrential rain earlier on, but as I keep mentioning, we have now got blue skies, so fingers crossed that this game sees itself out. Big heave-ho by Venkatesh, and nothing on it. No runs. Collected by Skamans, the keeper, standing up, of course, with a helmet on. Standapani with a slightly sluttering delivery stride. Again, fires wide down the off stump, so he's just lost his radar a little bit here now. We've got four wide, run wide. This one he's got hold of, though. It might interest the field at deep mid-wicket, who does a bit of football on the boundary rope and actually parries it nicely to his fielding comrade, who sends in a terrific throw, which takes the stumps. Luckily doesn't run away for the Bears to any great danger, allowing extra overthrows, but
yeah, it looked to be Amjad's share with the footwork, and I think it's Gallagher with
up,
the arm.
Yeah. Those are generally your boundary riders out there. Gallagher, Share, Padal, Nandapani short, and almost a terrific catch at short mid-wicket. Collins, I thought he had it. I was just about to exclaim, what a catch. Diving away to a ball that was short and pulled into the onside quite fiercely. He had it again, it seemed, but dropped at the last moment, and that has given a life to Sweden. End of the 13th over, 84 for 3, so 12 coming from it. Dandapani just losing his range a bit there, but I thought for one moment that was another wicket, Marcel.
Absolutely. Yeah, 3 wides in that last over. The first kind of loose over from the Finnish Bears, and that was a brilliant effort by Nathan Collins, diving full stretch to his left. Got both hands on it, but wasn't able to hold on in the end, showing the slipperiness of the ball, as it is Pete Gallagher to continue from the residential end to Venkatesh, who heaves it down the ground. It's long off region, couldn't quite see.
It's got for 4, as you can see. That's the first boundary that Gallagher has conceded. It went very straight between long on, long off, and we couldn't tell you what happened on the boundary because we can't see it, but maybe the pictures might have shown this to you. But boundary it is conceded. First one against Gallagher. I think I'm right in saying.
You are right in saying that. And from Gallagher's reaction, it did look like a misfield.
Venkatesh 50 now, we should say, as he drives up to long off for a single. So that's been a terrific effort by the captain. Moves to 51 off 39 deliveries. So that's a good strike rate, 130, when all else has gone before him, has struggled to get beyond that magic 100 strike rate. Gallagher again, driven on the half volley up to long on. Galtaman for a single, he moves to 16, 90 for 3. And sorry to keep going on about it, we've had such miserable weather this week that to be able to sit here and say we've got bright blue sky and sunshine, shadows of the players on the pitch and no dark clouds around is something rather nice, as this one is lofted over point. This is running away towards the boundary. The cover's out there, some acrobatic fielding. 2 fielders in tandem, managed to pull the ball back in, and that's terrific work by the Bears out there to save a boundary.
Yeah, I believe it was Arvind Mohan doing the chasing, and the excellent fielding in tandem with the gully fielder, who's number 4.
So in his last over, they're looking to go after him just a little bit more now, the Swedish batsman. Gallagher still very impressive figures, 23 now, coming towards the end of his 4th. This one's a bit of a clubbed shot, really. which picks up a single again. And the Bears will be happy. The sun coming out now with them to bat and chase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things just
Cricket
drying
gods
up a little bit.
smiling upon us all today after being woken up to thunder and lightning, as you said.
Gallagher then to end his spell. Oh, how is that? It's an appeal by the umpire. He's given him. Run out, well, awful way to go, as we always say in these situations. It was driven on the half volley straight. Gallagher bent down, got a hand to it. Must have directed it onto the stumps, and the non-striker was out of his ground. And the most unfortunate way to get run out, Venkatesh, the captain, who goes for 54. Terrific innings, and what an awful way to get out.
Yeah. Brilliant reactions by Gallagher. Got a hand to it onto the stumps at his end, and Venkatesh just outside of his crease. As my colleague Richard said, a very unfortunate way to end that great innings by him, having scored 54 off of 41 balls with 4 fours in his innings at a strike rate at 131. Just waiting on news of the new.
And Gallagher, we should say, 4 overs, 0 for 24, although it's always a bit mean, I think, when a bowler does fielding like that, a manager. They should really be credited with the wicket, shouldn't they? It should go onto his, onto his figures, but it doesn't anyway. Terrific stuff. So a very economical spell, and he helped to slow the rate down at a time when the power play had ended. So he's done a good job there. 93 for 4. The new batsman is Dipanjan Day, coming in at number 6. The outer man then still not out on 16, but the captain for his 54 led from the front there, and they're going to miss him now. That's a really awful way for him to get out.
Yeah, it's a new batsman now on strike, and a change of bowling from the Brewery end. Does look like Mahesh Tambe based on the run-up, a very chest-on bowling style, so easy to recognise. It is indeed number 8.
Empire Cricket Club captain, another member of the national team squad that plays for Empire. 1 to 7, I think, of them in this team, and very sort of majestic bowler, Tambe, Mahesh Tambe. And he's surprisingly quick. He has a very sort of slow and easy approach, but he bowls from a great height, gets a lot of bounce, and he's a little bit slippery when he wants to be, as he's in now. That one's short of a length. It's chopped down almost onto his stumps by the batsman, and that's the thing. He will bowl back of a length again, looking just to get a little bit of lift down the hill. A lot of his wickets caught behind, or caught from attacking shots that just sky up in the air because of the surprise of the bounce. That one's full though, and that's driven uppishly towards the man on the cover boundary, who does well. Thought for a moment he just let the spin beat him for a second, but he does well in the end. Out there does Aravind Mohan.
Yep, Day gets off the mark, and Kautuman back on strike, who now has to take the leading role in this batting innings with just under 5 overs remaining.
Glorious weather now. Let's hope it lasts. His Tambe, and that one keeps low. Actually, it was short of a length. The batsman seized on that length early, looking to pull it from outside off stump into the onside, but it just kind of died. He has a slower ball, Tambe, which does work well. That might well have been it. 94 for 4. Sweden chopped into the offside. A run round from point for Raz Mohammed to field, just a single again. And Galtaman moves on to 17 off 20. He took second on the passenger seat, really, in that partnership with Venkatesh. I mean, what was that partnership worth, Marcel? It'd be good to know. As Tambe is in, driven nicely, uppishly. Is going to beat the man, I think, at long off. No, he does well. Good dive to his left, and they hesitate about coming back for a second. Good work there, and he gets a deserved round of applause from his teammates.
Yeah, the partnership between Venkatesh and Gautaman was worth 53 runs.
Yeah, 50 partnership in which Venkatesh brought up his 50. That's been the backbone of this, but they need to accelerate a little bit more in these final few overs as Tambay comes in, driven nicely up to long on. Should only be a single though. They won't take on Amjad Sher's arm. Good to hear some shouts of back him up as Tambay's over comes to an end. 15 gone then, 4 overs left in this slightly shortened match. 98 for 4 Sweden. 19 overs we will play, which will take us round about to 1 o'clock. And we will also have a slightly foreshortened break as well between the innings. 10 minutes the umpires have shortened that to because of the delay, 40 minutes that we had at the start of the day. I'm going to stand a little bit outside the
Dandapani now with
the
his change of
scorers,
ends.
or the commentating box here.
Starting from the residential end now, Dandapani, after a bit of a loose over in his previous over from the brewery end, but he's back into the attack.
Just trying to get what sun we can in here. Yeah, Dandapani, this is an interesting move because he struggled in that last over. I thought he lost his radar a little bit and slightly expensive, but this might not be a bad move because he'll be bowling up the hill. And sometimes you can be surprised by the bounce when you bowl up the hill, especially a tall bowler. That one's full, driven on the full, up to long off for just a single. Yeah, it looks like we've got to think about, well, Tambay will certainly take one of those final overs. Whether he brings back Raz Mohammed is the question, because Raz struggled with his 1 over, but he often bowls at the death. 99 for 4 Sweden, Gautaman's on 17. As Dandapani waits. And that one is inside out over extra cover. He didn't time it at all. It's only a single. So just struggling to pick up and time his shots. 100 is up for Sweden in the 16th over, 100 for 4. What do you reckon then? What 130 they'll be looking at, certainly, if they're being optimistic, but that's what they'd like, I think, off 19. Dandapani, this one again is full, just chopped into the offside. They might push for 2 here because there's a race to come and collect the ball from the cover field, and they do get back for 2 in the end. A little dive just to make sure, although I think he would have been safely home. Day, who moves on to 7. His job really has got to be to have a go at these and try and make sure Gautaman stays towards the end, because he's the set batsman. He himself, I think, needs to just up that strike rate as well. It's consistently been below 100, mainly because he allowed his captain to take charge of that 50 partnership.
Yeah, good rotating of the strike, but a lack of boundaries so far in the Sweden.
How many in the innings, Marcel? That would be interesting to know. As Dandapani comes in, that one's full. This could be a catch, but no, it just evades Padal at point. It was a bit of a leading edge, a mix-up by the batsman, and his gloves all over the place here. I'm not quite sure what's happening. The keeper's thrown off his gloves. There's something else lying on the pitch. What is that?
Could be an arm guard from the batsman, perhaps.
I thought it was a pair of gloves. No,
Oh,
it's a towel.
Yeah. So 8 4 so far in the innings. So 32 runs out of the 104 coming in boundaries. So testament to the good running of the Swedish batsmen, keeping the strike rotating, but they do need some boundaries now in the final 3 overs. This is Dandapani.
Day facing. That one's going the distance, I think, for 6, or could be a catch. No, it does evade Tambay. It does go for the 6. For 6, the first 6 of the innings. And he timed that well, because it was a wristy stroke, really, despite going fairly straight to the left of long off. But it carried the boundary by quite some distance. So 110 for 4, first maximum of the afternoon.
As we were just talking about the lack of boundaries, we get a 6, so Dave probably having an earpiece in, listening to us, I'd imagine.
Oh, no doubt. I think that'd be strictly illegal, wouldn't it, under ICC regulations, to have some kind of communication device, even if you're only listening to your favourite music.
I thought I've seen quite a few players mic'd up in various ICC events. Surely it's not
No,
illegal.
no, that happened once. That happened once. There was some incident, I think, in a match where players were receiving instructions and they quickly moved to... They quickly moved to outlaw that, quite rightly. This one is an attempted shot the same direction. It's going to Tambo, who takes the catch. Terrific. Had to move to his left. It was still difficult because he had to reach above his head, and it was a very similar shot to the one before. A bit of a bottom-handed, timed prod, really, that he didn't have the timing or the power on it of the one before, and it went straight down the throats of long off, and Sweden lose their 5th wicket.
Yep.
110 for 5.
A cool customer with big hands, hardly had to move, a few steps to his left.
So Day's gone for 15. That's the end of the 16th over as well. 110 for 5. So, 12 off it. That's up the rate. But, of course, they've lost that wicket. So, the intention was right. The execution, obviously, just what was lacking on that occasion.
Yeah, seems the batsman did cross, so it will be Gautama, the batsman who's in, now facing, I believe, Tambe from the Brewery end, who only gave away 5 runs from his first over. It'll be interesting to see the batsman who's come in.
Hassan Mahmood is your new batsman. Down on the card as coming in at 7. Sweden very helpfully have given us an accurate batting order on their team sheet, and they're yet to deviate from that, but he'll have to wait a moment. Oh no, he won't actually. He will be facing, won't he? Because they would have crossed.
Yep.
And he's wearing
a red helmet, which helps to identify him.
Now this isn't quite right, because the new batsman is wearing the burgundy helmet, but he is going to be at the non-striking end, so no, the scoreboard is showing him as on strike, but that is certainly Gautaman who's on strike.
Yeah.
He's 18 not out of 21. I mean, when did he come in, Gautaman? He's number 5, so he came in when the 3rd wicket went down, so he's been there since the 7th over. He's facing Tambe. He's just clipped that into point for a single. That will bring Mahmood on to strike in the West Indies coloured helmet. Burgundy slightly clashes, I think, with the blue and yellow of Sweden.
Slightly. I was just thinking earlier that Cricket Finland and Cricket Sweden have quite similar kits.
They're not dissimilar at all. It's just a yellow streak, isn't there, on the Swedish kit, as Tambe comes into Mahmood, who has a big swing at that one and misses. You would like to think, wouldn't you, that he would be sporting a dark blue helmet or even a yellow helmet. I don't think I've ever seen it. Well, yellow helmets, I suppose, South Africa and some teams in the past might have worn those in the coloured clothing game. Tambe full toss, driven up to long off. This should just be a single, though. Brings Gautaman back onto strike. 112 for 5 in the 17th. Tambe's figures 7 he's gone for so far off 9 deliveries. It's a good show, this, I think, from the Finnish pairs. They should be reasonably happy with how they've bowled and fielded. He's down on one knee and outside off stump, ramping that over his shoulder. It's running away down towards this fine leg boundary. They're going to come for a 3rd. No, they're not. He's sent back quite rightly. Mahmood was interested in the 3rd, and Shahid does well to keep it down to 2.
Yeah, good chase there.
A little bit of invention needed by the man who's in. 21 of 23. What do we say? 130 they'd be aiming for. Still on. As Tambe is in fuller delivery. Doesn't know where that's gone, the batsman, but it's squeezed and dribbled out to the short backward point area. They go through for a quick single. Brings Mahmood back onto strike.
Practicing his leave there, Mahmood.
Yeah, interestingly. Get an earful if he left a delivery, wouldn't he, deliberately? Here's Tambe. Full outside off stump. Won the attempted drive through extra cover. Nothing on it. Good end to the over then from Tambe. 17 gone. 115 for 5. And at this stage, with just 5 coming off that over, you'd be a bit disappointed as a batting side, I think.
Yeah. The fall of the last wicket, unlucky as it was, crucial for the Finnish Bears to limit the strike, or the run rate, excuse me. Just 5 off each of Tambe's overs as he returns to the long off boundary where he took that catch in the last over.
Well, Raz Mohammed's going to bowl the penultimate over, so he's switched ends, having struggled with his first and only over from the far end, the brewery end, or the golf ball end. If your pictures show you the golf ball-like structure on the top of the big tower that says Carava behind the batsman. But Raz Mohammed now from what we call this residential end will run up the hill, number 31 on his back in his red shoes, and he'll be bowling to Gautaman, who's 22 off 24. And Sweden 115 for 5, having won the toss and decided to bat. In murky and wet conditions, they're now facing different conditions. Bright blue sunshine as Mohammed is in. That one's not timed. A chance of a run out. If he hits, he's gone, but he's missing. Still, just a rushed single. And again, an untimed shot.
Yeah.
Skidding on, perhaps, from Mohammed, who's, as we mentioned earlier, a very skiddy bowler. He's in again to Mahmood. Full toss. That beats him. That's a wide. That's why it beats him. He just struggled again for his radar, Mohammed. A couple of wides in the, or at least one wide in his first over.
Yeah. Going off 10 in his first over as it comes in again.
Mahmood in the burgundy helmet waits, and he just plays an orthodox stroke into the onside for a single. Gets the man who's been in there since the 7th over on to strike. That's Gautaman, who's 23 off 25. He always seems to be, his score has consistently been
just below
a couple lower than the balls he's faced.
Yeah.
I want to amend that with a big boundary. Instead, he waits on it and guides it nicely backward a point. They're going to pick up 2 quite easily here. So that was a nice shot, but 2s at this stage. Well, I suppose they're better than wickets, but boundaries they need. What we were saying, 8 or 9 boundaries so far in this innings from Sweden. 120 for 5. We're in the penultimate over. This one he has a swing at, but inside 2 out. They're going to get a single. There could be trouble here because he was very slow taking that first run, but the keeper doesn't take it cleanly. Had he, then he would have been easily home. He seemed to pull up in that first run, did Gautaman, as if he'd pulled a hamstring or something, and he's just slow coming back for the second.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a run out if Skamans had it collected. It was a good throw from deep extra cover fielder, who I believe is Pete Gallagher out there, who sent it in like a missile.
Big heave and nothing on it, no run.
It's the end of the over, I believe. Or is there one to come?
One to come. So that's a good delivery.
Yeah, you were asking earlier about the boundaries. I think it's 8 4s and 1 6 so far. Yes, indeed. So 38 runs of the 122 coming from boundaries. A lot of running involved in this Sweden innings as Raz Mohammed continues for the last ball of the penultimate over.
Slower ball, that one, and it's lifted high in the air. I don't think this is going to go because it'll probably plug, so they'll come back for a second as Panal comes around from the deep mid-wicket boundary to field. They take 2 off that final delivery then. That's Raz Mohammed's job done with the ball. 18 overs gone in this 19 over match, just to remind you, having had the game reduced by an over following some rain earlier on today. So 124 for 5 after 18 overs, meaning what, 9 came off that over. So 130 plus still on here for Sweden.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing the Sweden bowling and fielding effort. The bowling lineup will be interesting. Obviously, we've got 4 matches to come over the weekend, so we'll get to know the players slightly better once we see them all in action.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of either of these two national teams because of the situation. Sweden playing the first of a couple of T20s for a long time against Denmark last weekend, as Tambe comes in to finish this final over. Big swing from Mahmood, and that is through to the keeper. No run, down on 2 knees in the end there. Yeah. Mahmood, he's looking for the big one.
Mahmood always seems to drop on a knee when he drives. Every single drive he's always played it off 1 knee, and in this case he ended up on 2 knees. I think that might be Gautaman just having a quiet word. Give me the strike, sir. Go for the single. See how Mahmood now plays the next delivery, whether he's going to go for a big booming drive once more, or whether he's going to...
Yeah, not quite sure what he would have been told, that one, but just he's got something on it. It's called a wide. It's gone through the keeper. Could be a run out. It should be gone here, yep. The keeper gathered the wide, and again, another unfortunate way to get out. We've already seen the captain run out by the bowler, who put out a hand and deflected the ball onto the stumps. Now being run out, running on a wide.
Yep.
That's irritating to say the least, but for the Bears, rejoice, because that's the 6th wicket down now.
Yeah, Skaiman's making amends for the miss run out in the last over. Now we know what Gautaman had a quiet word about. Mahmood must have Gautaman must have told Mahmood that I'm coming down to the striker's end, no matter what the delivery, and that ended up in a run out. It's number 9, Gubratullah Zauran.
29 Gautaman made there before being run out by Skaimans. Yeah, that was clearly the instruction. Whatever you do, I'm coming. And, well, that backfired somewhat, didn't it? He would have perhaps hoped that his fellow batsman would have got something on the ball.
Absolutely.
Tambe is in. That's a nice, pleasant drive. He's going to pick up a single, though, I think, as it goes up to long off. They're going to come for the second. No, they're not, because a good throw comes in back to the keeper, and it is only a single. 126 for 6. Okay.
So 2 new fresh batsmen. Mahmood down strike, slightly more time at the crease as Tambe comes in. The drive down the ground. Long on coming around. They will go for 2. And they will get 2.
Yeah, he shapes to go outside off stump a little bit and drives well. 18 for 3. The new batsman is Gubratullah Zauran. Might feature on your card as Afzal. Anyway, he's not on strike at the moment as Tambe comes in. Mahmood again stepping outside off stump, and that should pick him up 4 runs. No, it's not. The fielder from wide third man gets around, and it is only a single. My view just obscured by the camera gantry. 129 for 6. That does bring Afzal or Zauran on to strike.
Yeah, 129 at the moment. 2 balls to go. So they look to be making 130-ish.
He's got a natty blue helmet which goes with his top. That one's his club. That's gone miles. That's gone straight, and it's gone for 4 or 6. 4 signalled by the umpire. Well, no messing around with him. 5 off 2 he moves to, and that was a terrific shot. What you need, penultimate ball of the innings. 133 then for 6 with 1 ball to go. They've passed that 130 target that we were talking about. And it'll be Tambe then to Afzal. That's a wide. Well, it's not. I thought for a moment the batsman all waited. Oh dear, and Tambe has missed what should have been an easy run out. In fact, 2 run outs have been missed. The ball is going left, right and centre here. It's a bit like pinball. The bottom line is What did they get out of that? 1 run at the end?
2 scored.
2 scored at the end. So the end of the innings, which I thought was going to be called a wide, because the way the batsman stood there.
Yeah, 2
I
byes
thought,
given at the end.
I thought that would have been called a wide and the innings would have continued. But as it is, 135 for 6 then is the total for Sweden, having won the having won the toss after 19 overs, and having decided to bat first. Target then for the Finnish Bears will be 136. Just run through the card for you quickly. So as I said, Sweden winning the toss. Khalid Zahid just lasted a couple of balls. He was the first man out for 1, caught by Skamans off the bowling of Amjad Sheral. Khan made 11 of 12 deliveries before he was caught by Nathan Collins. Abhijit Venkatesh, the captain, very unfortunate getting run out by Peter Gallagher, the bowler, having hit a straight drive back or having had a straight drive hit straight back towards him, and the bowler putting out a hand and deflecting it onto the stumps ran out the captain, who was going well at the time. 54 off 41 he made, so that was a crucial wicket for the Bears. Wynan Boshoff, he made 2 off 11. He struggled to get into his rhythm. Rahul Gautaman at the end, run out there by Skamans for 29. Dipandan J, 15 he made off 9. Caught by Tambe, and the not-out batsman at the end, Hassan, 5, and Quadratul Amir Afzal on 5 as well. Extras 13, so 2 byes, a leg bye and 10 wides. 19 overs, 135 for 6, a run rate of just over 7. The bowling card for you, Amjad Sher, 4 overs, 1 made and 2 for 12, so terrific 4 over spell by him, just going at an economy rate of 3. Naveed Shahid, 3 overs, 1 for 27. Pete Gallagher, 4 overs, 0 for 24. Mohammed Raz, 2 overs, 0 for 19. Hariharan, 3 overs, 1 for 31, and Mahesh Tambe, 3 overs, 0 for 19. So 10 minutes break there'll be between the innings before the Finnish Bears commence their reply. 136 will be the target, and we look forward to welcoming you back in 10 minutes or so for that Finnish Bears reply. But for now, we'll leave you to have a little break.
And then inside the door, yeah, left-hand side. Take 4 pairs. Mano, just tell Huda 4 pairs of pads out of the container. That's it.
They're probably all lefties, aren't they?
Dunno, mate. Oh, those you mean? No, they're ambies. They're all ambies.
What I was trying to do is apply
विपिन भाई
How
match
many
time
minutes
in
is
that
that?
match time शुरू हो
When you ring that, how many minutes is that? I never remember. Is it 5?
5 minutes
5. Going to the first eight, guys. Why the hell is somebody ringing your bell? Bell. Oh yeah, that. Yes. Yeah, can do. Maija. Siinä on tulijoita. Kato onko... Joo. Drone situation. Until I get...
Andrew 3 minutes
3 minutes. 3 minutes, guys! Coach, 3 minutes! So, we have to basically decide.
Ballings not today boys
Welcome back, wherever you're joining us, whether you're following us on YouTube via the Cricket Finland page or on Facebook via the Cricket Finland page. 136 then will be the target for the Finnish Bears in reply to Sweden's 135 for 6. As expected, the opening pair for the Finnish Bears will be Nathan Collins, the captain, who's about to face the first delivery then from Moman. Lemar Moman, left armour, who's coming over the wicket, and immediately Collins is off the mark. And a reminder to you then that this is a now 19-over match because of a rain delay earlier on. Got bright blue sky and terrific sunshine here, no sign of dark clouds. However, during the break, having looked at the weather radar, there is an awful lot of rain on the way, apparently, but we'll wait to see if that materialises. Hopefully not, as Moman comes in again. Left arm over the wicket, wide of the off stump, called wide by the umpire. Pete Gallagher, the man, is on strike. So an all-Australian opening partnership for the Finnish Bears. All Empire Cricket Club opening partnership. These pair playing for Empire this season in the domestic T20 League here in Finland. Nathan Collins, who's been captain and opening batsman for the Finnish Bears for a long time now. Very, very experienced player. But it's Gallagher on strike, who's just feeling at that one outside off stump as it goes through to the keeper. And we were talking to the Bears earlier on about this bowler. Lemar Moman, left arm over the wicket, quite sharp. Coming down the hill here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground. A little word between the batsmen in the middle. 136 then the target for the Bears. As Gallagher without a helmet waits for Momand. Driving up to mid-off, misfield, and they go through for a single. 3 for no loss then after 3 balls. Brings Collins back onto strike. 401 runs this season for Empire, his domestic club here in Finland, at an average of 44.5. Highest score of 57, importantly a strike rate of around 138. He's been in terrific form, and he's an experienced campaigner and a terrific batsman when he gets into his stride. As he lets that next delivery from Moman go outside the off stump, called wide again. 10 wides, we think, in the Swedish innings, which, just a quick word I had with Matt Jenkinson, the Finnish Bears coach, during the break. He was slightly disappointed by it. Otherwise, a very disciplined, I thought, bowling display by Finland, who were good in the field as well. But 10 wides is something they'll need to think about. And the rest of the matches, 4 of them scheduled for this weekend. Next delivery is on the pads, and it dribbles down towards fine leg. They'll come back for a second. And that's the umpire, yes, does call leg by, so nothing on it for Collins, who's still on 1. Gallagher on 1. And required run rate around 6.7, which is not big. And they got the best of the conditions, certainly so far. It was very wet, murky and damp when Sweden began their innings. They finished it in the bright sunshine that we're now experiencing here in Finland. So they've got the best of the weather, and the outfield should dry quicker and quicken up a bit as it goes. This one is slightly short. He's on the back foot, just clubbing that into the offside. Collins, no run. Couple of wides in this. But a solid start. 6 for no loss after those 5 deliveries. Run through the teams for you again quickly when we get a moment. We'll just watch Momand and his final delivery, what should be the final delivery of this innings. Full toss and driven on the full through the covers. This might run away for 4. It has gathered pace, and it has indeed made the boundary. So a terrific start then for the Finnish Bears in reply to the 135 for 6 that Sweden posted, having batted first. 136 the target. And after that first over, Collins, the captain, on 5, Gallagher on 1. Now then, slight disadvantage here that Sweden don't have numbers on their shirts, so trying to identify players we're not entirely familiar with isn't so easy. But this will be Khalid Zahid, who opened the batting for Sweden, making just 1. He was out in the first over. He'll be hoping to do the same with the ball. He failed to share in that first innings, but he'll be running away from us here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground, coming from this residential end, where the camera feed that you're probably watching is stationed. Gallagher just taking a moment to check the field. A few last-minute adjustments in that field. So finally, Zahid comes in right arm over. That's a full delivery down the leg side, called a wide, spilt by the keeper. And they pick up an extra run as well, so 2 more to the score. So not a promising start from Zahid. We've already had a few wides. We're only into the second innings. 2 wides. Here he is again. That one's fuller and straighter and driven nicely by Collins. 2 wide of mid-off. They'll pick up 2 here because there's a chase for the fielder who takes a while to gather the ball. No call of a third though. Throw comes back and it's a decent throw. So a couple more to Collins, takes him to 7. So nice relaxed start then for the Finnish Bears in chase of 136. Here's Zahid then, and a swing from Collins, no run. Don't forget, if you want to participate and give us your thoughts, Cricket Finland's page on Facebook, you can post any comments on that. And we'll get them to us here in the commentary box. Also on YouTube, you'll probably be following this on the Cricket Finland page. We've got quite a few viewers watching this so far. As Zahid comes in to Collins, big swing and a miss again. No run. And some comments here saying what a beautiful ground Kerava is. Well, you know, we are delighted and privileged to have such facilities here in Finland. As you know, in Finland, not a primary cricketing nation, but a lot of work has gone in over many years to get these top-class facilities here, and we are blessed to be enjoying international cricket finally. Is this one spoons to gully? It's a good catch. Has it gone? Has it carried? No. He's not walking. It just a bit of a leading edge, really, trying to play it into the onside, and I thought for a moment the gully fielder had taken that on the full. It was a terrific piece of fielding nonetheless. So a slight scare then for Collins, the captain, who is still there on 7, 14 without loss. We're in the second over. Required rate around about 6.5. That's a big swing. That's gone over the infield. It's going to probably not make its way to the boundary. There's a chase for the fielders at cover to pick the ball up, but they're going to pick up 2 easily enough. And just the 1 delivery to come in this over. from Zahid. Khalid Ahmad Zahid, who we said earlier got out in the first over for Sweden. He opened the batting with Rahul Khan. More changes in the field. Only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring in this first power play for the first 6 overs of the innings, don't forget. So Zahid to Collins, who plays that nicely up to mid-on. Well timed, but a better delivery, straighter delivery. Ends the over then, 16 without loss. 2 overs gone. Alongside me in the box now, Akash Chandrasekaran, who's going to be helping us throughout the weekend.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, the Finnish players or the Finland team, they're having the rubber conditions, getting to the ball under cloudy overcast conditions and now batting under the bright sun. A fairly off to a stable start, 16 loss at the end of it.
Well, apparently, Akash, we hadn't unmuted him. We apologise for that. We're going to get the a bowling change immediately here, it looks like. Just checking that for you. Yeah, it's certainly a right-armed bowler, so replacing Limar Moman, the left armour who opened the innings. And this is going to be Quadratullah Zadran, otherwise known as Afzal, who'll top end, the Brewery end. He's going to be bowling right arm over the wickets to Gallagher, who digs that one out. They might look for a single, but no, it's going straight up to the man at mid-on, and there is no run. We'll bring back Akash in a moment. Apologies for the technical problems there. So, Quadratullah Mir Afzal, 26 he is. He's in again, shorter delivery. He's trying to just guide that down past the cordon, Gallagher, but it dies on him somewhat and he doesn't manage to get any contact on it. So a little bit of a Akash, perhaps, unknown quantity. These teams haven't played against each other, I don't think now, for what, 4 years or so. So, you know, they're not used to playing each other, so they're not aware of the strengths. And of course, they don't play in the same domestic league, despite that Nordic proximity. We'll pick up on that again in a moment as he's in. Quadratullah Afzal to Gallagher, who's just guiding that down to gully for no run. Akash, apologies, you can talk to us now, I think.
Thank you for that, Richard. Yes, the Finnish players having
Next delivery then, just blocked into the offside from Gallagher, who wants a single. He's sent back by his captain, and there is no run.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, thank you for that, Richard. The Finnish bears having the rub of the green in terms of the conditions. They're getting to bowl first. They lost the toss, so they were put into bowl, and now off to a fairly decent start.
Here's Afzal, Quadratullah Afzal, and he's driven nicely over the head by Gallagher for 4 runs. He's very strong forearms. It was just a kind of lazy, languid stroke, really, just pushing through the ball at time to perfection, and back straight past the bowler, and 2 straight for the man who's at long off to field, and a boundary then to Gallagher.
That's Gallagher's first boundary.
Yeah, takes him to 5 then, as he waits for the next one. He's just targeting the same area, but this time to the left of the man who's at long off. And that was a bit more inside out, more extra coverish, but just pushing through with that bottom hand and allowing it to pick the space. And we had a lovely view of that, timed absolutely to perfection. So 2 boundaries on the trot there to end the over. 24 without loss after 3 overs, the Finnish bears. A reminder, they're chasing 136.
taking full advantage, going along at 8 per over the Finnish Bears. I think these two have they play together in the leagues as well, and they must be telling themselves that if we stay in here for the first 6 overs, then we can really take the game away from the Swedish teams.
Yeah, a good start in this power play is perhaps what Sweden missed out on, actually. I mean, they were 19 after 3 overs equivalent, 19 for 1, in fact. We're going to see Zahid continuing for his second over, but already they're ahead of the rate, as Akash mentioned. 8 is the required, is the current run rate, the required rate around 6.5. Zahid is into Collins on the full driven, and no run as it goes up to mid-off. A little bit more chatter in the field from the Swedish players. So yeah, we think perhaps the last time they might have played around 2017, 2018, these two. So I don't see an awful lot of each other, as the next ball to Collins is just steered into the backward point region, and it's fielded without a run being taken. They don't perhaps see each other or play each other as much as one would expect, bearing in mind the Nordic proximity of the two. But you know, Finland's last T20 internationals 2 years ago against Spain, and of course not much has happened since then because of the worldwide situation, as the next delivery is short and pulled into the onside for a single by Collins. Sweden, we were mentioning earlier, had a few games, 3 games last weekend in Denmark against their near neighbours. Denmark, you know, quite a strong European side, ranked an awful lot higher than these two, and have a history of providing some professional players as well. Finland ranked 64, 65 in the ICC rankings, Sweden unranked, but that's because they haven't played enough, and the way the ICC rankings are decided, it goes on the amount of games played over a certain period, and of course there hasn't been much to get ranking points from, as this full toss, which is above hip height, it looks like to me, steered to point by Gallagher, timed it well fielded in the end. There was a slight suggestion that might have been a no ball.
No, that is the umpire signalling 2 balls, the last 2 balls left.
I meant from the way that the ball was bowled, it looked like it was on the cusp of being given a no ball, but the umpire decided not to call it. Zahid comes in, a big swing through the line by Collins. He's not timed that, it dribbles out into the onside, but they managed to steal a single as well. These two run well together. They've played together for an awful long time here in Finland, first with the SKK side and now with the Empire Cricket Club, but they've played together at the national level as well for a long time. They know each other extremely well, and that's apparent in their communication between the wickets. 27 they've taken their side onto now as we come to the final ball of this 4th over. Slower and down leg side, called a wide. So not the final ball from Zahid, who's a little bit wayward at the moment. Khalid Zahid, 2 wides, or 3 wides now perhaps that is. Collins on 11 off 14, Gallagher on 10 off 9. Steps down the pitch, Gallagher has a big swing at that, but doesn't connect with much timing, and the ball bounces into the onside, and there's no run taken. End of the 4th, so just the 4 coming off that, so a good comeback from Zahid, all things considered. 4 overs gone, 28 without loss. Sweden after 4.
Good over that by Zahid on the second, going for just 4 runs of that over, keeping these two under control. Sweden will be telling themselves that they need some wickets here. Sweden will be telling themselves that they will be needing a few wickets to stem this run chase a bit to get themselves back in the game. Because as of now, it looks like the Finnish side are.
Right, Liam Carlson is the next bowler into the attack, so moving things around or changing things around quite a bit, Sweden here at the start of their innings as they look to pick up 2 Finland to that first delivery from Carlson. Moves them on to 28. Collins on to 13. So Liam Carlson, the 4th bowler used so far by Sweden in just the 5th over. And this one is driven nicely to mid-off, and they take through, or scamper through for another single. So already the run rate is beyond what is required, around 7, the run rate at the moment, the required rate around 6.5. Now Carlson, tall, right arm over, a bit of height, trying to use the slope that you've got here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground, which is sloping down towards the batsman as we look at it. That one is a good ball, gets a lot of lift on it. Tall and bouncy, and Gallagher fished at that one and was beaten. So Sweden just trying to get in a little bit more of a rhythm with their opening bowlers here, as Carlson is interrupted in his run because Gallagher isn't ready. 24 years old, Carlson, as he comes in. Slight stutter to his delivery, gets another rising delivery to beat Gallagher. He certainly uses that height. He's got a little stutter in his gather, which gives him a little bit of momentum, so it becomes a bit of a all-shoulder delivery. But Gallagher is a fairly tall batsman himself, around 6'1" perhaps. 185 maybe. Carlson's in again. This one is lofted over towards long off. It's either going to go or 6. It's 6. Terrific shot. I mean, again, that's classic Pete Gallagher. It's a very languid stroke through the line. He plays that shot so well. It's all timing and just immense strength he has, but the timing is exquisite. And the first 6 of the Finnish Bears' reply comes off his bat, moves him to 16 off 13, 37 without loss now they are in the 5th. And this is often the way that these two play. Collins will move the ball around, rotate the strike, while Pete Gallagher will tend to take on the bigger shots. And that's certainly one of them, as Carlson comes again short and he guides that down towards short third man. There is no run. So trying to use the height there, but the one that was bowled slightly fuller got the treatment. End of the over then, 37 without loss, 5 overs gone, 136 target. Akash.
Yes, Peter Gallagher taking full advantage of that. He knew there was a man back there, but he backed himself to play that stroke and getting himself at the first 6 of the innings. The Finnish Bears at 37 for no loss at the end of 5 overs. 1 more over of the power play left, as we have another, as Hassan Mahmood comes into the attack.
Yeah, so now what are we? 1, 2, 3, 5th bowler used by Sweden, and we're only into the 6th over. Whether that's a deliberate ploy. There we go. A deliberate ploy or not, or whether it's just being forced perhaps by the good start that Finland have made. Little comment coming in from one of Pete Gallagher's former teammates. Exquisite timing in Pete Gallagher. I do things I never thought I would hear in the same sentence. Keep them coming, please.
Always nice to have said encouragement, I guess.
fear that's one of his former teammates. As we watch Mahmood then come in with a slightly galloping run, and that one's clipped over mid-wicket. That should run away for 4. It looks to hold up a bit. No, I think it's just going to make it. 4 runs then from Collins, and that was just another example of, well, dare I say it, exquisite timing. It was just, again, a nice shot through the line of the ball, picking the fielders, or using the gaps in the field to his advantage. And another boundary takes Collins onto 18 off 17, 41 without loss into the 6th. It's a calm and measured start by Finland in chase of 136. Again, this one is clipped, but with a lot more timing and a lot more power. That has been clipped for 6, I think. It has. Over mid-wicket, terrific shot. Absolute bottom hand strength in that, but again, pure timing, lovely shape on the ball, really terrific shot.
Yeah, getting the treatment it deserved. That one was straying on the pads and flicked away.
I mean, he's a joy to watch when he's in full flow like this. He, as we mentioned earlier, has been in terrific form for most of the season. And in the bright sunshine here, the umpires are just going to check the ball for signs of damage. That was a lovely shot. I'd say probably a shot of the day so far. So 4-6 off the first 2 deliveries. Mahmood is getting the treatment here. And it's brought the Bears within sight of 50 already in this, the 6th over. That one is outside off stump and called wide. So he's just struggling with his line a bit here, Mahmood. And that required run rate now down to 6. The current run rate up at 9. So they're well ahead of the game here in this first of 4 T20 internationals this weekend. We hope to see all 4 and the weather behaves. Another one to come for you at 15:30 finish time this afternoon as he's cutting now, Collins, just for a single into the offside. Takes him to 25. And 2 more tomorrow, where the weather forecast is even more promising, I believe. 11 o'clock start for the first one, and again 3:30 in the afternoon for that 4th match. And we hope over the course of the weekend to bring you some interviews with Jonty Rhodes, the Swedish coach, the South African legend, the man who transformed fielding really in the mid-90s. And you could see him working with the players before the matches today. The emphasis he puts on ground fielding, as you expect, as Mahmood is short, and this one is just trying to cut or guide more Collins, Pete Gallagher, but getting nothing on it. And a lot of praise on the chat channels after that 6 in the earlier in the innings, earlier in the over from Pete, from Nathan Collins. It really was a delightful shot, and it's one of those you when you hear it, you know, don't you, as well as see it. It just the beautiful sound it made off the bat, and wonderful timing as Mahmood's into Gallagher now, but pulls out of his run. He just seems to be struggling to me, Akash. I don't know whether you notice, he seems to be struggling with his run up a little bit. It's not the smoothest from the start, but.
Yes, he's been tonked around in the first 2 balls of his over, and then a wide. So he's trying to get some rhythm back, I think.
Anyway, here he is. Gallagher waits. He swings through the line. That's again bottom-handed. It's coming up towards the long-off fielder who takes it. And well, he's repeated the shot that's got him some joy earlier on in the innings, but this time not quite enough on it. And it was quite a comfortable catch in the end for the long-off fielder. And Pete Gallagher is out.
A shout of relief
for 16 of 15 deliveries. 2 4s and a 6, and the first Finnish Bears wicket goes with the score on 49.
Yeah, and some reason for Hassan to celebrate. Aniket Pushtai, the new man in for the Finnish Bears. He's coming off a win in the Finnish Premier League. He was the captain of the side, so he will have some contribution to make today. But Peter Gallagher going for that shot and ending up holing out at to the fielder at long off.
Well, it's been a torrid over for Mahmood, but he's got some joy from that with the wicket of Gallagher. Momand, the man who opened the bowling at the top end, the left arm quick, he's the man who took this catch here at just in front of us at long off. So having been pulled out of the attack after 1 over, at least he's played his part now in picking up the first wicket. for Sweden. There's still one delivery left of this 6th over before the power play ends, this first power play, 49 for 1. Aniket Pushtai, as Akash said, is the new batsman at the crease, but he's now at the non-striker's end, the batsman having crossed. As a plane goes overhead on the flight path into Helsinki-Vantaa International Airport, followed by Mahmood. Slower delivery, Collins pushes into the onside, they'll pick up a nice single. That brings up the 50 for the Finnish Bears at the end of the 6th over. 50 for 1. Collins on 26, he steals the strike for the next over, and Aniket Pushtai yet to face a delivery. It's a good power play then, you'd say, Akash, I think, for Finland there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking that, thinking back to the Swedish innings, I think they were about to run a ball and they had lost 3 wickets at the end of 6 overs, at the end of their first 6 overs of power play. So the Finnish Bears team taking full advantage. They are having their noses in front a bit at this point and trying to tell them, the captain there still going strong at 26 not out after that delectable flick over mid-wicket for 6. He must be telling himself that he's going to see this innings through. He's got Aniket at the other end.
Now another change in the bowling. So they're certainly mixing it up. Ramel Khan, who also opened the batting, is going to come into the attack now. 50 then for 1 Finland after 6. After 6 Sweden were 37 for 2. So they're well ahead of the rate, Finland now, with plenty of batting to come. They bat quite low down, it has to be said. But Nathan Collins, the captain, will be not necessarily wanting to test that strength in depth and to see the job through himself as he awaits the new bowler Khan, who's coming with a little bit of leg spin, it looks. And immediately chopped into the offside. Misfield, poor misfield actually in the covers. Picks up 2 for Collins. They're going to come for the 3rd, I think. They're both fairly quick across the ground and the throw is poor. There could be overthrows even here, but he gets home easily. 3 runs then off the first delivery, brings Pushtai on to strike. That was a bit of an error in the field. Jonty Rhodes would not be happy with that, would he? Now watch closely. This guy looks like he's got a bit of leg spin in operation here. That's very short. That should have got the treatment, but the new batsman perhaps a little slower to pick up the pace and the line, that being his first delivery, and he gets away with it, the bowler. Pushtai, tall, very elegant batsman. Chops all straight to the fielder, a very short fielder there at coverage. It's a terrific catch, it has to be said, because I think he middled that, and he's walking off with a certain element of disbelief there. He chopped on that.
He picked it up inches off the ground there.
He really did. Terrific catch, and Pushtai, having faced 2 deliveries, is gone.
Yeah, Aniket, he would consider himself unlucky. He had time. That was a good catch by Kudratullah there, making it look quite unbelievable because he was not too far off from the batsman, and that brings in the new man for Finland, and Arvind Mohan coming in. Into bat. He's coming in probably telling himself that, okay, we've lost 2 quick wickets, so he wants to like stay there, probably giving the skipper some company.
Well, I'm not sure if the previous misfield that allowed them to run 3 was the result of the fielder there who took the catch, which was Quadradella, but he's redeemed himself if that were the case, because that was a terrific catch and something that Jonty Rhodes would be very proud of. So 2 quick wickets gone then in successive overs. And the new batsman is immediately off the mark, cutting very nicely through point. They should pick up 3 because there's a big chase for the fielder who's got to rescue it. No, in fact, I think it might have gone for 4. It has. So his attempt to rescue the ball has pushed it over the boundary, and off his first delivery, Mohan picks up 4 with a delightful square cut. Not dissimilar to the shot that Pushtai was trying to play in the first innings. So here he is again. He's got a better line and length now as the batsman Mohan lets that go by outside the off-stump Khan. He just struggled for his line and length a little bit, but That was better. The final ball of the over, another little interruption. And we got some movement behind the bowler's arm. And now we're set to resume. As Aravind Mohan, number 14 on his back, awaits a short delivery, and he tries to cut that, but it skids through quite a bit. Keeper takes no run, end of the over, 57 for 2. So we had everything in that over, really.
Absolutely, we had a beautiful catch to change the course of that particular over, but taking the finish best to 57 for 2 at the end of 7. Rahil, he's a leg spin bowler, but quite interesting actually. And on that count, we have a new bowler back into the attack. I think it was Gulami.
Yep. We have a lot of changes here. Oktay Gulami. Tell me now, is this what, the 7th bowler they've used already in the 8th over? It's yeah, 7th bowler already. Gulami's going to come, it looks like left arm around the wicket. Bowling to Collins, who's on 29. So they're certainly mixing things up a little bit here, Sweden. The first ball is left alone outside the off stump, called wide belatedly by the umpire. Interesting to know whether this is just a tactic to get them all into the game in this first of a 4-match series, or whether this is just muddled thinking by the captain. We'll perhaps find out as the weekend goes on. Nice square cut waiting for it, Collins, into the offside. They're going to pick up 1 at least. Takes him to 30. Required run rate exactly 6 now. And currently going at over 8. So, Aravind Mohan, the Turku player, awaits, pushes forward nicely. So that taken on the pad, big appeal. An immediate shake of the head by the umpire. He's got a nice action, this left arm spinner. Very balanced in his delivery, running between the umpire and the stumps to go around the wicket. That's a short ball though, and that's helped on its way. That's going to be 4 all the way. No second invitation needed. It was short and it sat up nicely for Mohan, who's quite a tall player, and another boundary to his name. How many boundaries we've had in this reply from Finland already? There were 8 or 9 in the Swedish innings. 63 for 2 then, Finland. 8 boundaries so far. Another one. This should be 9th or a catch. It's 4. It would have been a stunning catch had the man on the deep mid-wicket boundary taken it, but as it is, it's another boundary. And that takes the Bears boundary count now up to, what, 9 we were saying, which is as many as Sweden scored in their innings of 135 for 6. So he's getting into his stride now, Mohan, 12 off 6. This time cutting into the covers for no run. A slight look of exasperation on the fielder in front of us there here at long off, who
I think they understand the importance of having a few tight ones in here right now.
Yeah, this one is given some air and it dips on the batsman a little bit, who almost got underneath it. It's no run. End of the over, 8 gone. 67 for 2, 10 off that over then. So they're going along very nicely indeed, Finland, in chase of 136.
Those 2 short balls helping the Finnish cause to get that in there. The ground has dried up a bit, so it was quite surprising to see those 2 long hops. But having said that, we have now Nathan Collins on strike. It's 67 for 2 at the end of 8 overs.
Yeah, and the clouds are starting to roll in a little bit more. There is a threat of rain to come. We'll hope that it bypasses us as we watch Galani bowling to Collins, who's taking his score to 31 with that push up to long off. Sorry, Khan, I beg your pardon. Galami was bowling the previous over. Rahel Khan, this is. Comes in over the wicket with his wrist spin, and that's watched respectfully by Mohan. And this is what they can afford to do now, is pick their deliveries with themselves ahead of the run rate, Finland. He's not messing around with that one though. That's over the covers and into the water, I think. He's really got hold of that. Terrific timing from Mohan. 18, he moves 2 off just 10, and we're going to have a new ball, I think, Akash. That's into the drink.
That's into the drain there, behind the boundary there. Lovely looking, nice looking shot from Mohan. Got a good hold of that. They seem to have retrieved the ball quite quickly, but definitely I think the umpires will have a look at it. Yes, as we speak.
Well, there's a big drainage ditch that runs around to the left of us from our position here.
In the cow corner.
Yeah, what would be cow corner for the right-handed batsman facing now. If it's gone in there, if it's not rescued quickly, you're going to have to need a new ball. As it is, that's been retrieved quite quickly, I have to say. We spent months looking for balls over there. As the next one is driven on the full up to long off by Mohan. Nicely played. I always like to see that. A nice big 6 followed by a gentle push for 1. He moves to 19, so he's really added some extra impetus really to something that was going along quite nicely. Collins drives similarly. A one-handed attempt to field by the man at short extra cover, but the fumble allows them to go through for another single, and they just look the air of the batsman now like they are in control, as the scoreboard would suggest. Khan's in, Mohan waits on it and cuts to point for just a single, for no run. And that completes the 9th over, 76 for 2. 10 overs left, a reminder, this being a 19-over match because of the rain delay. But Akash, Finland going along very comfortably indeed here.
Well, very comfortably indeed. I think they are now in a position where they can say, okay, we're not going to take any unnecessary risks or no risky shots. We're going to hit the bad balls and take singles of the good ones, a few dot balls, but that should get us home. But cricket is known to be a funny game and anything can happen. But as we have another bowling change, doesn't look like Octoy is coming back to bowl. Will be Hassan Mahmood.
Mahmood's coming back for his 2nd over. Stuttering run up again. This one's looked like it came out the back of the hand a little bit, so Collins was watchful and just defended it into the onside for no run. We have got slightly darker skies now over Kerava. I hope the rain bypasses us. We can complete this match as scheduled. Into the 10th over now of 19. Mahmood to Collins. Waits on that. Ooh, and he just uppishly cut there. It's almost like he was through the shot a little early. But no run. And from his point of view, no danger. 32 off 26, Collins is on. Required rate well below 6 now, 5.5 it's at. So they can afford to go along quite nicely, Finland now. They're in a good position. That's a lovely little clip off the toes. That's running away towards the boundary. There's a chase for the fielder on the onside boundary, but it beats him, and it's another 4 runs for Collins, who moves to 36, and certainly the shots on the onside he's timing beautifully this afternoon.
He even placed that well too between the fielders there.
Yeah, there's a man at short backward square leg, isn't there? Deep backward square leg, and a man on the mid wicket. Boundary is slightly square, it looks, from our odd position here. Perspective is slightly skewed.
Yes.
But yeah, there's not a huge gap between the two of them, but he placed it perfectly. This time onto the back foot and into the offside, backward a point for a single. 37 he moves to. Collins. Mohan back on strike. He's on 19 off 12. Already 3 fours and a 6 to Mohan's name, as he awaits Mahmood, who bowls that slower and fuller, and he watches it and waits on it and defends, which, as we were saying, is something you can afford to do when you're well ahead of the rate. You got the feeling Sweden chased the game a little bit, that they got themselves behind what was required at the time, and of course when you start going searching for big shots, they don't always come. There's Mahmood again. It's a quicker delivery, gets through that delivery a lot better. Collins just, Mohan rather, just dabs that into the offside for a single. Just watching Mahmood, he seems to be struggling to get to the wicket a little bit sometimes. He seemed a bit better there and picked up a little bit more pace as a result, but his final delivery means he's now completed 2 overs and he's gone for 19 off those 2. Finland 82 for 2. End of the 10th over, well ahead of the required rate to chase this 136.
Yeah, just picking up the thread from what my colleague Richard was just saying, for Sweden in their first 6 or 8 overs, they were a bit bogged down, and it was also a cloudy condition. They won the toss and they chose to bat. So I mean, that will be something that they will come back to think about at the end of the day today.
Right, another change. Carlson's back, having had 1 over from that Brewery end, the 5th over he bowled, now into the 11th. Tall bowler, got quite a bit of bounce in that first over of his. He's short again, and he's up on his toes, Mohan, just dabbing that into the offside for a single. 21 he moves on to now, of 15, so a very healthy strike rate for both these players. 140 for Mohan and 130 odd for Collins, the captain, who's now facing Carlson, who's fuller with that delivery, and he's just driving up to long off for another single. Well, it's theirs to lose now, Finland. Up 84 for 2 in the 11th. It's been comfortable so far. I think Pushtai was unlucky. He got out to a terrific catch. Not much he did wrong there, really. That's a nice shot from Mohan, though. He's just giving himself some room to squeeze that into the offside. Collins wants a second. He's sent back, probably quite rightly. And it's 85 for 2. Carlson again, short. Oi, almost a terrific diving catch at point. Collins square cut that one, and the fielder taking off, probably taking that around about head height, but in the air, mid-air, that was a terrific effort. It was a good shot.
Sure, Jonty will be watching that very closely.
You think he's been watching the videos, that one, don't you? Well, I mean, fair play. That was an excellent effort. And Collins survives. Mohan's watchful with this one. Again, nice push into the offside for another single. That would have been another terrific catch. And yeah, a message saying Mohan is a game changer in this match. Well, since he's come in, I mean, that rate has upped from what was already a very comfortable rate. He looks very assured. He's got a terrific range of shots, and he's a really nice batsman to watch. As Carlson comes into Collins, who just waits on that and defends. No run. 11 overs gone then. 87 for 2, 5 just coming off it, but...
Right, so the Swedish team, they've been a bit unlucky. They've had 1 good catch, and then this one, the last one, would have been an astounding catch had he made it. From the looks of it, they will be really needing to get some wickets in here if they're to put a break on the Finnish scoring. Yeah, because as of now, it looks like the Bears are going to be running home. Another curious part is, like Richard was mentioning a short while back, is the number of bowlers. And having spoken about that, we have a new bowler coming in, Abhijit Venkatesh, the captain, coming in to have a bowl. Yes, so this will definitely be an interesting proposition to talk to Abhijit at the end of this match, is if it was intentional or not, as Abhijit comes into bowl.
Yeah, 8th bowler used by Sweden so far, as Mohan picks up another single. Yeah, well, he is the skipper, so he's the man to ask. Venkatesh, who's into the attack. He batted extremely well, I thought, for Sweden earlier on. Got out very unluckily, having made 50-odd. Run out by the bowler, backing up. That's a pleasant shot through extra cover. It's only going to get him a single, though, but again, a shot of a player in a team that's in control of this match.
He seems to be comfortable on both sides of the wicket. Is it?
Yeah,
Is
no, he's just a good all-round player. He's a delight to watch. As is Mohan, who swings. That wasn't quite a delight. A slower delivery. He got through that about 3 seconds too early, I think.
He was beaten by the pace.
What team does
Turku.
Yeah, Aravind Kumar Mohan of Turku. Played in the Finnish Premier League this season, having been promoted last year. There's Venkatesh then. Short, up on his toes, defending. Good fielding by Carlson. And no run.
Richard, how much of a difference do you think bowling between the brewery end and the apartment end makes? Because we've seen a few bowlers changing ends.
Well, having played here a lot, there are certainly bowlers that have clear and distinct preferences from the end they like to bowl at as Venkatesh comes in. That one is clubbed into the onside. There is a fielder under it and he's caught.
That's out.
It's a good catch. Good catch in the end. Mohan did get hold of that, but not quite as perhaps placed as well as he expected. And the third wicket falls. Mohan has gone for 24 off 20, so he's done his job. He's come in and he's kept the run rate going, and he was just hitting out a little bit there. It was a good catch by Zahid off the bowling of Venkatesh. But he's done a good job there, Mohan. He looked very comfortable and very assured, and as I said, he kept that run rate ticking along very nicely. Vanraj Padal, number 13, is the new batsman. And going back to the question you were asking, certainly bowlers tend to have a very clear preference for the end that they want, because the slope is quite pronounced here at Kerava. Some like to bowl up the hill because they feel that, you know, they can get a bit of uneven bounce or unexpected bounce from it. But of course, most quick bowlers tend naturally to want to come down the hill. And of course, the other thing that matters here, which often you get, is quite a strong wind. So for bowlers, you know, if you're a slow bowler, the wind will have a much more of an effect on the end you tend to choose to bowl from, as the next delivery is just guided to extra cover by Collins for another safe single. He moves on to 40. And I think the scoreboard's showing that slightly wrong as well, because that was definitely Nathan Collins that scored that single off the last of the over. They've accredited that to Van Padal, who's yet to face a delivery.
Curious about Vanraj Padal's choice of numbers there. Lucky number 13, I guess. But the Finnish Bears now 90 for 3 at the end of 12 overs. Collins on strike.
Carlson's continuing his third over. 90 for 3 after 12. The scorecard now showing the correct information as Collins is driving and a bit of a leading edge, squeezing it out towards backward point, deep backward point. They're going to pick up 2. It wasn't going as straight as he intended that, but he's safe, and it's 2 more runs to Collins, who moves to 43 in the 13th over. So fairly straightforward equation now for Finland to get home in chase of 136. Collins waits on that and defends. No run. There's 44 runs needed.
It's been the captain's show so far, hasn't it, for both sides?
Sorry, say again.
It's been the captain's show for both sides so far, hasn't it?
Certainly batting-wise, yeah. They've both batted extremely well. That one's short. Oh, it's a top edge. This could be out. 2 men going for it, but they both missed it. And it's just a single. So Collins has another little life. And moves to 44. And Van Padal prepares to take guard for the first delivery of this innings. 43 runs to win off 45, so a run a ball more or less as he defends that first delivery from Carlson. As another plane goes into Helsinki-Vantaa International, not too far away from us here in Kerava, with a backdrop of some darker clouds, which I think are going to be not too threatening in terms of this match. Certainly, he's always pulled straight to the man at mid-wicket, and Padal, first baller, he's gone. He stands there, hands on hips, livid with himself. He seemed to time it beautifully, but unfortunately straight to the fielder.
Absolutely. He finds himself unfortunate there. He timed it, but straight picking out the fielder, Rahil Khan there. He goes, the vice captain departs for a duck. And that brings... They do bat deep, the Bears. They will be backing themselves at this point. They would fancy themselves with a chance. That brings in Amjad Sher. He had bowled out his quota of 4 overs for 3 for 9, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So he does like to hit the ball a long way. And the Finnish Bears would still consider themselves favourites from here on.
Absolutely.
The Swedish team, however, they've pulled a few back. They've held on to a few good catches. They will be telling them, hang on here, boys. We may be a bit behind, but we can still make a game of this.
So Amjad Sher, the new batsman, coming in at 6. I tell you, his strike rate for the season in the domestic T20 was 223. It'll give you an idea of how much he doesn't like hanging around. He can hit the ball a very long way, so there's not going to be too many dabs into the offside for singles, I don't think. It's see ball, hit ball. But he can do what he wants, frankly, at the moment. The position the Finnish Bears are in, with the captain still there on 44. Let's see then, Carlson. And he does push that into the offside for a single. Beautiful. Good lad. Pleased with that.
Starts off.
End of the Carlson over. 13 gone, 94 for 4 then. So a good over, a wicket and only 4 runs coming off it for Sweden.
Yep, we've had quite an interesting last over there. Raj Padal holding out to a shot which was nicely hit. Perhaps it has something to do with this number 13 on his t-shirt. Richard, have you ever played with a number 13 on your back?
I haven't, I don't think. I'm not so sure I'd be bothered.
No, me neither. So,
approaching the 100 mark then, just to give you an idea, required run rate 6, they're currently going at 7.2. We have Venkatesh continuing. Oh, that's gone.
That's what we were talking
about. That's gone down the throat of the fielder, though. Oh, he's dropped it! An absolute sitter. And Sher, who'd given up running for the second, I think, because he was absolutely assured that that was going to be out. Dropped, hands on heads everywhere. Venkatesh, the captain, leading those hand-holding activities. That's a shocker. That really is a poor catch. It went straight down his throat at deep mid-wicket. For all the money in the world, he'd take that. But Sher survives. He's swinging again. This is coming to another fielder for a catch. He's taken it this time. So 2 shots, a drop, and a catch. And Sweden feel they're back in this. Sher's gone for 3 off the bowling of Venkatesh. That makes things a little bit more interesting. 96 for 5.
Absolutely, it is definitely interesting. Although the Bears do bat deep, is that Scammons, the wicketkeeper, walking into bat. That was a good catch there by Noman, making up for his teammates' previous lapse the previous ball.
Yeah, this interests me, this move. Skaman's coming in at 7. Normally he's a number 3 batsman, number 4 batsman. Again, something perhaps to ask the coaches about. You would have expected him to come in a lot earlier than this. But having said that, again, a very experienced batsman, a wonderful player to watch when he gets going. It just hopefully solidify things a little bit for Finland. Batting with his captain, who's still there on 44, hasn't had much share of the strike of late. Anyway, here's Venkatesh in. to Collins, who's just almost caught backward. Third man, really. Short third man. So a few chances going around at the moment. Clouds are coming in, the sun's gone out, maybe that's affected things a little bit. Skamans takes guard for his first delivery, 97 for 5. Perhaps this is getting a little closer than we anticipated as the wind gets up a little bit more, and it certainly feels a lot fresher than it was. But some chances going to hand. Probably, despite the fact that's what Amjad Sher comes in and does, is a strike rate of over 200 for a season attests.
That's the only way
Perhaps
he
that
knows to
wasn't what they also needed at that time. But let's see. Venkatesh, good ball, Yorker, dug out by Skamans. You can tell by the chat in the field here, can't you, that Sweden feel they're back in with a shout here.
Absolutely.
I mean, we haven't seen too much in the way of boundaries for an over or so as Venkatesh comes in, and Skamans, he's driving at that one, he squirts out over the head of Point, who's got to chase back and picks up on the dive and fields, but 2 runs. Skamans picks up 99 for 5. So they should, I would say, still be favourites now. However, it's probably a little closer than they expected. That clatter of wickets, 3 in 3 overs. Mohan Padal Sher, all falling in the space of 3 overs. In fact, they've fallen in clusters throughout this innings, which is quite odd. And the next one is just turned into the onside on his toes by Skamans for a safe single. And that brings up the 100 for Finland. 100 for 5 at the end of 14 overs. And just on that point, Gallagher and Pushtai going in the space of 2 overs. Mohan Padal Sher falling in the space of 3 overs. In between, it's been absolutely plain sailing, apart from those little hiccups.
And some critiques coming in from our viewers on YouTube too, especially about the slug shot from Amjad. But then that's how he knows to play. He sees the ball, he likes to hit it out of the park. That's his style. Today, unfortunately, it didn't come off. But yeah, I mean, Richard, like you're saying, it's been. I mean, Nathan Collins would be telling himself that he needs to just stay back here, let the others at the other end take some risks if needed. But they don't even really need to do that. Like singles will get them there.
Yeah, and if he's
but
there
it's all
at the
about
end,
nerves now. From now on in.
If he's there at the end, then that should tell you that they've got there. One would think. Carlson's into his 4th over and final over now. He's done okay, actually. Bit of a ropey first over, but 1 for 18 off 3. Tall bowler. He spears that one into Skamans, who just times that nicely. It bounces over the head of the point fielder and goes up to the cover boundary. They're only going to get a single, but that's fine for the Bears. That brings Collins on to strike now. 45 off 37. 35 runs needed off 29 balls. The required rate's gone up now to around, well, just over 7, in fact, where it was comfortably under 6 earlier. Carlson to Collins, who's had a big swing, and that's gone miles in the air. There is a fielder running round. I don't think he's going to take it. He doesn't. A diving attempt. They're going to pick up 3, though. That went miles in the air. Would have been another terrific catch.
Would have. He was running in from straight long off.
20 metres he ran there.
That was a good run and good effort.
So Skamans now on to strike. He just takes that on the pad, trying to turn it into the onside. They go through for a single. This will be leg buys, but it's another. No, it's going to be an overthrow.
Ooh, overthrows.
Okay, that's not going to please the coach, is it? Again, it was just a harmless leg by, which has gone for 2, and it should perhaps not even have been the 1, but the Bears will take it. 104 for 5 in this 15th.
Wonder what Jonty would have to say about that.
No, I wouldn't want to hear what he's got to say about that. 30 runs to win off 27, so the rate entirely manageable still as Carlson is in. Again, attempted turn around the leg, around the corner off the pads, which results in another leg by.
Yeah, a lot of comments about Jonty in the chat, and someone asked him to get him on camera as well to prove that he's here.
Well, I can tell you that Jonty Rhodes is here. If you didn't pick that up, people asking us to prove that he's here. Well, I can tell you he's here, and we will have interviews with him later on this weekend for sure. So you can hear his thoughts on how his team are doing, plus other things cricket related. As Carlson bowls a full toss, this could be out. This is on one leg, looking to paddle it around the corner. The umpire is not interested, though. We are not directly behind the bowler's arm, we should say. So that clearly must have been hitting outside the line, but it was one of those you just think, uh-oh, the finger's coming.
Yes, we are we are behind fine leg, so to speak, from this end.
Here's Carlson to Collins. Oh, it's an edge there, really trying to cut, but it's going to fall safe, and it's going to go for 4 runs, and that brings Collins his 50, 52 for the skipper of 40 deliveries. Slightly fortuitously there, but there was nobody in place to save that at third man, and that helps the Bears. 111 for 5 off 15 overs. That means 4 overs left in this slightly shortened game of 19 overs, 11 coming from that over. And well, the maths is fairly straightforward now. It's just over a run a ball, but
yes,
it's entirely manageable.
The skipper there getting his 50 with that shot. He slashed hard. It ran away for the boundary. He has keeping him company on the other end is Jonathan Skemmons.
What?
As Hassan Mahmood comes back into the attack.
Well, his last innings for the Finnish Bears, Collins, against Spain in the third of a 3-match series back in 2019. He scored a half-century, 56. And at 52 or 40, with 4 overs left, you'd back him to better it. But it'll be Skemmons now who's on strike to Mahmood. And he's driving straight. They should look for 2 because Collins is quick, and he turned and was halfway back before Skemmons had turned, running to the danger end here. And I mean, that's good to see at this level and this stage as well. Strong running, quick running, turning quickly, because a lot of players might have given that up for a single. But 2 it is to Skemmons. Takes him on to 6. Here's Mahmood driving. That's his signature shot, really. Skemmons through extra cover, didn't quite time it, and went straight to the fielder, Carlson. And there's no run. Very strong through extra cover, Skemmons, especially playing or batting at that end, where any extra cover drives goes down that hill here at Kerava. Collins could be the best player outside of the Netherlands, England and Ireland in Europe, so says one of our contributors on the feed that you are watching. Slower delivery, waited for and clipped nicely by Skemmons. They should pick up 2 because there's a chase for 2 fielders, so that was nicely timed and placed, taking Bears onto 115 for 5. Well, there's a lot of players, of course, around Europe, a lot of teams playing these days. But, you know, he is a terrific player, Nathan Collins. There's no 2 ways about it. Howard. North Macedonia, that comment came from, we're told. Here's Mahmood. Skemmons steps away to leg a little bit, and he lofts that over the head of point towards the boundary for 4 runs. That is a lovely shot. He just waited on it, made some room, and hoisted it over the covers for a boundary. That was a terrific shot. I suppose that's the benefit of having someone like him coming in at 7, normally a top order batsman. But 119 for 5, he's moved on to 12 from 10. Collins still there, 52.
I would definitely like to go back and watch a replay of that shot. You know, I don't have access to a screen right now, but
here's Mahmood. Slower delivery, waits on it, dabs it into the offside for a quick single, and that's good batting, good running, and good cricket all round. 120 for 5. Finland, they're now within 16 off 19 balls of the total. They're chasing of 136, so it should be straightforward from here, with two of Finland's more experienced batsmen at the crease.
Well, 3 big hits away from a win.
But we've seen wickets fall in clusters in this innings. Here's another shot through extra cover. Terrific from Collins off the back foot. And the fielder, oh, he does well. He's parried it onto the rope, and it rolls and dribbles to the rope for another boundary, and that's unlucky. The fielder did extremely well, slipped, and the ball down the slope carried on going with momentum and just dribbled into the rope before he could get up again. So, end of the over then, 16 gone, 124 for 5. That was a very profitable over with 13 coming from it. We have Jonathan Skamans on 13 and Nathan Collins on 56, and 3 overs left.
Good effort there, the last ball from the fielder. Interesting to note that, Richard, that he's also got the red shoes on, like Mars. I wonder if he's borrowed them from Mars. But red and white, apparently.
Venkatesh now, the captain, is going to continue. Continue back into the attack after changing ends. He's gone up to the brewery end. He's looking to do it himself here, I think. Skamans will be the man on strike on 13. Equation very simple, 3 overs and 12 runs needed. This partnership already 28, seems to have developed very quickly. Skamans bowled! Going for the big one, the big straight drive, and he's through the shot, and he's off stumps, gone cartwheeling back, and that's what he said, talking about wickets falling in clusters and how Finland did not need wickets falling in clusters at this stage, having seen it happen twice before. That's what they could do without. 124 for 6 then, the equation's still the same.
Sort of, that was an extravagant shot. Would you say that, Richard, at this point, given that
Probably.
they only needed to run a ball, or less than a run a ball at this stage?
Probably, yeah. But Mahesh Tambe, who's the captain of the Empire Cricket Club, is the new batsman, wearing number 8. He can hit the ball a long way, but again, as you're saying, there's no need for that necessarily now, not with your captain on 56 at the other end, and only 12 needed, and plenty of balls to do it in. But he's a calm head, Mahesh Tambe. Let's see then, as Venkatesh comes in, he just pushes that to the man at short extra cover, and there's no run. The run rate they've been going at 7.5 pretty much all the way. Well, that's more than enough now for what's needed to get them over the line, but their concern is just to make sure they don't lose any more wickets, as Tambe drives off the front foot, really almost a front foot square cut, and it's gone out to the cover boundary. They're going to come back for 2. It was a well-timed shot. There's some good fielding out there, but that's what you need.
9 required of 15, the equation.
An orthodox shot, don't give a chance.
Sweden looks like good old New Zealand, lots of dibbly-dobbly.
Here's Venkatesh. Oh, that's a slower ball. He had to wait on that a little bit, did Tambe. And in the end, he wasn't entirely sure what to be playing. And there is no run. But there's still only 10 away, Finland, with 2 overs left after this. So the equation straightforward. Still, should they not lose any more wickets? No, Venkatesh pushed into the offside by Tambe. They'll just take a single, maybe even a second, because there's a misfield.
Collins not interested.
Yeah, Nathan Collins not interested, as Akash said, and probably quite rightly. He'd just like to see it off, I think, now, wouldn't he? At 56 off 41, having been there since the start. Opening the batting with Pete Gallagher. And he's still there. Short, pulled, not quite timed. is certainly going to pick up one, maybe two. He sent back his Dambeek, probably quite rightly.
Can be quite a deceptive customer. Tambe doesn't look so quick between the wickets, but he's actually he gets along quite fine.
128 for 6 at the end of the 17th over then, so that's what, 8 runs needed off 2 overs. Discussions in the field amongst the Swedish players now. It looks like Zahid's going to come back, is it, into the attack? Yeah, Zahid is.
He also opened the batting.
Third, yeah.
Okay.
He did open the batting. He didn't hang around for long. He was out in the first over. Well, he's coming back for his third over now, and he's bowling to the man who's been there since the start, Nathan Collins. 57 he is. He'd like to get it finished in this over and not take it to the last if possible. Would be the thinking now with such a small target. You don't want to give yourself any scares for the final over. Get the job done. The inner ring seems to have gone a little bit tighter now. He's in Zahid, and that's cut through point. A dive for the fielder. They're going to come back for a second because they've got one for the throw, and that's an easy 2 in the end for Collins. He moves to 59, 130 for 6. 6 more needed. 5 deliveries of this over remaining, 11 in total. But that was a calm and sensible shot in the circumstances, I think. Zahid bowls, drives straight, nice. Long off, he's timed it well. It's pretty much straight to the fielder, so it will only be a single. And that brings Tambe back onto strike. 131 for 6, 5 required. Just sends a signal as well, I think, if you get the job done with an over to spare, that you don't need the full quota. This is a short ball, down leg side, called a wide, and that's absolutely what you don't need at this stage if you're the fielding side.
I think Zaid trying to keep the batsman guessing with that short ball, missing the line a bit, and it being called a wide.
So one more to the target, 132 for 6, 4 needed. That's a nice drive by Tambe. He's going to pick up 2, I think, here. Collins is already almost back. The throw's coming into the keeper. And indeed, they do pick up 2. And that's taken them to the brink now. 134 for 6, just the 2 runs needed for victory in this first of 4 T20 internationals. That's played towards short third man to bring the scores level. Takes Tambe to 6 off 6, and Collins appropriately, who's on 60 off 44, could and should perhaps have the honour of hitting the winning runs for Finland in this first T20. The field's coming in a little bit now. The man at long off is up at mid off, and indeed long on is coming all the way in to mid on. Is he or not? He's standing halfway outside the circle. He's bringing in the man from the mid wicket, sorry, from the cover point boundary out into the up into the covers in the infield. So what's Collins going to do for Zahid? He hits straight down the ground for 4 runs to complete the first win for the Finnish Bears in this 4-match series. And appropriately, as we were saying, it's Nathan Collins on 64 of 45 deliveries who wins it for Finland with that straight drive, and what takes his team to what has been a rather comfortable win in the end. A terrific display. I thought they looked in control pretty much all the way, despite a couple of hiccups along the way, a couple of clusters of wickets, but in the end there was no great panic, and Finland win this first of the 4 internationals scheduled for this weekend quite easily by 4 wickets. And for Sweden, a bit of thinking to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a comfortable win for the Finnish side, having won inside with more than 1 over to spare in this shortened version of the game. But having said that, stay tuned for the next game, which is due to start in about 1 hour more or less.
Yeah, there'll be a slightly reduced break, I think, between the two matches because of the earlier rain, and we just hope that we don't get any more rain between now and the start of the scheduled time for the next match, which is at 15:30. If there's a change, then we'll try and inform you via the usual channels as the players shake hands, or bump fists, I should say, on the edge of the boundary rope. The covers are coming on as a precaution because there are some darker clouds around, but the first match in this 4-match series goes to Finland quite easily in the end, with over and over to spare. Nathan Collins, the star of that, with 64 of 45. We'll take a short break now and be back with you around 15:30 for the start of the second match. We look forward to your company then. For now, goodbye.